Hello and welcome to SuperCoach Edge for the Round 20 review and Round 21 preview. Well, lessons were learnt on the weekend. It was a much-needed English lesson, you could say, for those owners with the big dog, proving he is virtually a perma vice-captain option nearly every single week, as he once again punched out a sizable score to the tune of 163, giving a 5-round average of 145.4. Absolute insanity, and I think I myself have learnt my lesson after opting to switch the VC to Dakes on the weekend. Just lessons learnt again. Just never be cute, Liam. Never be cute.
Never be cute. Yeah. Another lesson as well. My boy. Proved the doubters wrong yet again. Bounced back. I mean, it's just like a rubber ball that just always bounces back.
Like a yo-yo.
The old Gulden. Yeah, like a yo-yo. Probably better analogy. A yo-yo rather than a bouncy ball. But no. You know what? No, I'm going to go with bouncy ball because bouncy balls bounce high. A yo-yo just comes back to where it was.
That's very true, Liam. I like that analogy.
High. Gonna just point that out. But anyway, he did score 152. Very nice. We did also remind everyone on last week's episode that there was a fair chance of this happening given that he has bounced back after low scoring games twice already this season.
It is the bounce, isn't it? You're quite right. And he bounced quite high. And every single time he bounces, it's like you just throw the ball into the ground even harder and it just bounces even higher. It reminds me of like back in primary school.
Yeah.
But the other lesson was more of an enlightenment, really, in how annoying the coach from St Kilda, Ross Lyon, aptly named Ross Lyon, is as an AFL coach. All season, Ross has not once adjusted his zone or forward defensive press, nor his method of entry inside 50 all season, allowing opposition defenders to clean up. And now, 20 rounds in, Liam, he decides to make an adjustment. The week that we put the C on Sicily because he scored a 172 last time he played them. Like, trying to work out the mind of an AFL coach of his caliber is a labyrinth, really. Like, I reckon now he's up there with the likes of Chris Scott and Leon Cameron now. Like, fair. That's high. I was going to say, so what's the opposite of high praise? That's
low praise.
Low expectations. Low praise, yeah. We'll go with that. That's really low praise for him.
What's the opposite of praise?
I don't know,
low
like disdain.
Insult.
Yeah, like an insult. A high insult.
High insult.
But anyway, must say, with the finish line for SuperCoach in 2023 in sight, with a month remaining, this episode marks the first of more to come where we'll be featuring a special guest, Liam. Yes. And we kick things off this week with one of our good friends in Joe from Centre Bounce joining us. So looking forward to chatting to him later in the episode to pick his brain about not only insights from this coming round, but also projecting forward to SuperCoach in 2024 and what presents us on the horizon in the future of SuperCoach.
Yes, and we are looking forward to catching up with Joe. But of course, if you're not following us on socials, what are you doing? That's where we post the latest news, post-match SuperCoach scores, and even the odd meme or two. And you can do so, as you can follow us, via these channels. Twitter, at @SuperCoach_Edge. Damon, at DamoJ88. Myself, at @LiamEvans_95. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, search SuperCoach Edge, and you'll find us there.
Very nice.
Did I say our Twitter one right? It sounded wrong. At @SuperCoach_Edge.
Yeah, that was right. Yeah. I think you're just doubting yourself. I think it's a case of SuperCoach taking its toll on all of us, Liam. We're now doubting ourselves, doubting captaincy selections, all that sort of stuff.
Also, it's not Twitter; it's just X now.
Oh, yeah, very true. People will be going like, "What's Twitter? What's Twitter?" Speaking of which, we shouldn't delve into the discussion about our good friend Elon because he's going to have us banned, of course. Just try it, mate. But I did notice that my phone finally updated to X.
Yeah,
it took ages. Mine was glitching between. It kept showing the Twitter app icon when I went out of it, and it like slowly glitched to X. And then I jumped into it recently, and it changed over permanently to X.
I had X, but I think is it still doing it? I noticed it was X. I'm an Android user,
Yes.
But
See,
it's got X, but then Twitter underneath it as the name of the app.
really?
So it's not like X and then X. It's just Twitter. So like, what are you doing? Seriously, make up your mind.
Soft launch. That's what it is. The soft launch.
Butchered launch. But anyway. Anyway, before we get dragged, let's jump straight into it by kicking things off with our usual recap in the good, the bad, and the ugly.
I thought you were pausing for effect and to say the good, the bad, and the Elon Musk.
I was going to say it, but then I thought, no, we actually might. We might cop it.
Yeah.
For those new to the show, in the good, the bad, and the ugly, we roll through some of the more notable and the more forgettable performances across the round and touch on how our own teams performed in our head-to-head rivalry as we wrestle. And I think this is the week we can call it for the ultimate supremacy. We can call it officially.
Yeah. We can call it. I thought you meant like we can officially title it the ultimate supremacy.
Oh no. We can actually call it like.
I call a winner.
Who has the ultimate supremacy? I think now's the time.
Yeah, now is the time. Even though the time was probably weeks back, but just wanted to leave the door ajar. Like Hodor was just holding it open for you, Liam. But I think he's now his arms got too sore and he's shut it. But let's kick it off with the good, of course, and it is that man who we spoke of in the intro, Timmy English. And in a week where many of the popular captaincy options faltered, namely Dacos, of course, and the Bont, English continued flying the flag with another big score that we highlighted, of course, earlier. So just absolutely insane. As an owner of him, I'm actually quite thankful, having just spoken about Hodor, I'm thankful that he went down with an injury because otherwise he wouldn't be in my side, English. So a bit of a silver lining there.
Yes, I don't have him, so it does hurt. Moving on to the bad. And you know what? I don't know. I'd almost put him into ugly, this guy.
Oh, yeah, okay. So, yeah, it's true.
You've been kind here. Bad.
I have been
Callum Mills. Now, Horse just isn't doing Mills owners any favors at all, and he's at risk of joining the Leon Cameron, Chris Scott, and now Ross Lyon camp. Because he's just absolutely marooning Mills in defense nearly all game, granting him only 12% CBAs, which was another head scratcher of a move, given Mills is one of the Swans' classier ball movers. But perhaps we can blame Warner for taking his spot.
Yeah, his CBAs have dropped, unfortunately, coinciding with the return of Warner, and we kind of flagged it before everyone jumped on Mills, but that was the risk that we took, and we're hopeful that some good performances in the middle might have saved Mills, but the horse, no. He's in his high horse, and he's telling Mills, get down into defense, mate, buddy. What are you doing? But yeah, well, is what it is. But yeah, I must admit, Liam, I was probably a little bit, because it was his first time, and there's a reason why this guy who's in the ugly currently is there, because he's done his dash. He was in the bad last week, and he's a primo, a genuine uber primo, and we expect better. And it is Tim Taranto. So after finding himself in the bad category last week, Taranto has slid into the ugly category after eking out a score of just 75. And we thought the 91 the round prior was bad enough. So 54% disposal efficiency is the main culprit, of course, as it is most weeks with him. And it just isn't going to cut the mustard no matter how many disposals you get. And it's that common theme with Timmy, really. And the only saving grace, thankfully, is virtually the fact that the entire SuperCoach community also own him. So could be worse, but he impacts everyone. So yeah, is what it is. But we would like some better scores anyway. Better scores. Come on, Timmy.
Yes, I agree. I agree. Come on, Timmy. Come on, Timmy.
Come on, Timmy. I'm surprised, actually, just speaking of Timmy, that no one calls him Taz. Because, Chris Tarrant used to play for the Pies and Freo back in the day. Tarrant, he was Taz. Yeah. No one calls Taranto Taz, for short. He's the Bull. Is it his nickname, the Bull?
I think so.
Yeah. Anyway, let's delve into how our weeks unfolded in round 20.
How'd you go?
So after scoring nearly a record-breaking score in my history of playing SuperCoach last week, of course, as you would have heard, I was dished up a serving of the usual crap So I've kind of just went, haven't crash landed just yet. So hopefully it doesn't continue and I can arrest the fall. But I ended up having a score of just 2,520, which saw my ranking slide 219 spots to now have me seated, ranked 711th overall. 711. And I can only blame myself after being too cute, as I mentioned earlier, with my VC choice, bypassing English, who I was keen on yet again for Dacos, and opted for him due to the fact that he was highly VC'd by those ranked in the top 1K. If you go to SuperCoach Plus, you can see those in the top 1% as to who the most popular VC and C options are. So I virtually hedged my bets in case Dacos went large. And the main reason being was I had my heart set on a pod captaincy choice in the form of Sicily, who was facing St Kilda and scored 172 points against earlier in the year. And with the fact that the Saints, as we jumped on about last week, being a side that concedes the most points to opposition defenders. But of course, as we highlighted, I didn't count on Ross the Toss, not Ross the Boss, being an absolute tosser and adjusting his forward setup to combat the effectiveness of Sicily's intercept marking. But I am counting my blessings that the other popular captaincy choice in Bont scored one less point than Sistog. So it could have been much, much worse. Silver linings, again, silver linings. You've got to look at that. Otherwise, you go insane when it comes to SuperCoach. In terms of other low lights, they included Mills's 50, Hewitt's 58, Taranto 75, and Lockie Neal busting out just 87. He got tagged by Tookie Miller, and it was up to some mischief, Took Miller apparently. Grabbing dicks and all that sort of stuff, apparently, according to Zorko.
Do we trust Zorko, though?
Yeah. Can he be trusted?
Yeah,
Can he be trusted? No. Yeah. Wouldn't put it past him doing that sort of stuff. Eye gouging. Yeah. But hopefully I can work my way back into the top 500, but more so win the finals for all of my main leagues, all of which I was thankful to have qualified for finals in. As always, you can check out a full analysis of my team's performance and strategy on the run home in this week's edition of Team Talk that's now live on YouTube for anyone that is keen. Liam, how did you go on the weekend?
Yeah, not as well. Not as well as I would have liked. Scored 2,443, which did see me fall down the rankings 1,382 spots to sit 8,851st overall. But I guess, I don't know, I used my last trade. I did use my last trade. And I think I tried to probably play it too cute as well, I guess. And it was something that we spoke about last week that I hadn't really considered. And it was trading Wardlaw across to Hewitt, thinking, oh, that'll be great. Obviously, it hasn't worked out this week. Hewitt's scoring 58. Walsh sits on my bench. I probably should have traded, or I probably could have traded Walsh up to pretty much anyone else. LDU would probably be my main target. Or even Doherty. And probably would have made some more points and actually done something good this week. And I probably should have also VC'd Gulden like I'd suggested. Anyway, looking at my side, so I had Dacos 82, Neil 87, Mills 50, Hewitt 58, Timmy Taranto 75, Taz as we like to call him, and Hobbs 83. Those are the only scores under 100. So all the rest were 100 plus. So it wasn't like a terrible week. It just wasn't a great one. Sicily 102 as my captain, though, was probably the biggest issue for the round. I reckon had I gone for it. I mean, but looking at that, I mean, merit maybe. I don't quite think I would have done it. I probably should have put the VC. I had the VC on Bont. Probably could have put it on Libba or Gulden, as I said. But yeah, I was kind of confident in Sicily and bloody Ross.
Yeah,
bloody Ross.
It was annoying, wasn't it? Because like my hands were tied initially. I wanted to go similar as well, and maybe go like a Sicily, a VC, just in case that happened. Where I guess a lot of people were putting the C on him. Like if it was the case where I had a late donut non-playing player that I kind of could have used to then loop on I'll lock in Sicily's VC score as a captain, I would have done that. But I just didn't have that luxury. Otherwise, I would have been happy enough to roll the dice and put the C on Petrarca, who was really the only other primo that I had playing in the late games after Sicily. So yeah, I was the same thing. I had to lock myself into Sicily. Would have been a nice little leg up because those people that I think he was the third most captain player in the top 1% as well. So he was still up there considering he is, a relative pod in comparison to other primo defenders, but is what it is. Lessons learned. This just goes back to lessons learned. Should have locked in, just followed the gut. I should have gone for English like I did last week on last week's episode. I locked him into my captaincy choice and didn't do it for my actual team. And as you mentioned, maybe a Gulden, maybe a Libba. Listen to your heart. That's what they say.
That's what I'm going to do for the rest of the season. Just straight up C on Gulden every week.
Yep. Just do it. If that's what your heart's telling you, you gotta follow your heart. End of the day. But let's round it out by just delving into this the ultimate supremacy side of things, Liam. And it is our head-to-head. So I notched up another win and extended the lead to 1,157. So in 4 digits now. So I think that's time enough to wave the white flag or the checkered flag rather, and call it a year, call it a season. But yeah, I mean, it's up to you. Do you reckon the ultimate supremacy thing has been decided, or is it still open?
I think it's been. I think it already been decided. I've been saying for weeks that it's been decided.
You have. I've been leaving the door
jar. It was open to you. It was open to you. I don't have much to say. 3 wins. Yep. It's not great. It's not great.
3 wins to 17.
Next week. Next year. It's going to be. I don't know. We're gonna hit the preseason hard. We're going to really take a good hard look at ourselves.
Yeah, 1 week at a time, all that sort of stuff.
Take it 1 week at a time. Yep. Just disappointing effort from the boys. We're hurting just as much as the supporters.
Yep. I should compare it. I should go back maybe one for next week because I haven't prepared it. But just comparing it with this time last year as to what our head-to-heads were. I can't recall. I think it might have been you were ahead and I came back. Was it? Or was it our captaincy?
Last year.
I think
last year I think you got ahead because I had all those injuries.
Yeah, that's right.
I think it was the year before I got ahead and then you came back.
Yeah.
2021.
Yeah. We're at the mercy of the SuperCoach gods, especially now without trades, Liam. Without trades. It's probably that time, isn't it, to talk about
I just don't feel it anymore because I've always been at the mercy of the SuperCoach gods.
that's very true. You've got you're just not immune to it, but no feeling.
What do you mean you're immune? What do you mean you've got to now feel it? Aren't you always feeling it?
Oh, they have spared you a little bit. I
haven't been hurt that bad this year, I have to admit.
Yeah, hasn't been. It's kind of maybe on par with other coaches. Maybe there might be an extra player, 2, 3, maybe where we've copped an extra suspension or whatnot. But we'll go through that, analyze both of our seasons in review, I guess you could call it, in the last couple of episodes of the season. But yeah, interesting times. But anyway, Liam, is it time to delve into all things trades?
Let's do it. Let's talk trades, and if any of us do have any trades left, just send them my way, please. But it is slightly different take. I'm going to do something different here. When the price is right, with it's going to be a bit of a rebrand going on. I'm going to do a bit of an Elon Musk with Twitter.
Wait, we're calling it X?
No, we're calling it Y.
He might sue us for trying.
And we're going to get a really big. I don't know if you've seen the big light that I have on Twitter, the light up X on Twitter HQ.
Oh no!
Oh my god! I think it's now been removed. He put this giant X on the roof, and it faces towards an apartment block, and this light was going to give someone a seizure. It was Morse code style.
Oh, it's flashing,
and it was real bright. Just so many, and he removed the old logo. Sorry, we're just going to delve into a bit of Elon hate here. And then he removed the old symbol, like the old logo from the thing, and then apparently could only remove half of it because he didn't get like approval to do it from like like I don't know, from like the
Of
council or
course.
something.
He's Elon. He can do what he wants.
It's like seriously. Anyway,
it reminds me so much of I don't know if you've seen the episode of Seinfeld, but when Kramer becomes obsessed with Kenny Rogers roasters, like chicken roasters across the road, and they put like a massive like red neon sign, and it's right outside of his apartment, and it like flashes in, it beams into his apartment, and it's just like glowing red.
What's going on in there?
What?
That light.
Oh, the red. Yeah, it's a chicken roaster sign. It's right across from my window.
Can't you shut the shades?
They are shut.
And Jerry's like, you got to tell him to turn it off. But he's obsessed with the chicken, so he doesn't want to like get them shut down. And then they end up getting shut down. And in the like he's seen like in the closing moments of the episode, like enjoying, he's like chowing down on like the chicken. And then all of a sudden the light goes out. It's like, doo, and powers down. And it's like, he's in pitch black and he's like, and like they're being shut down. And he just roasts. It's life imitating art, imitating life.
oh,
Or is art imitating life, imitating art? Who knows? Anyway, yep, it is our new segment, of course. Well, it's a rebranding.
This is how we do it. It's Friday night. I feel alright. But now I'm the big chick. The girls see I've got the money. $100 bills, y'all. If you
Talking dollars and cents. Bit of a play on words there. So it's cents and cents. You know, dollar bills,
yes.
yo.
Got none.
Yes. Yep. Got none. Well,
None
cents
of
is
either.
at this stage of the season, we've got neither as well. Yeah, running a bit dry. That's part of the reason why we got Joe on for this episode to pep us up, refill the stocks, as it were. So for those tuning in for the first time, this is the time where we would normally talk about all things, you know, I guess best potential trades and trade targets from week to week. However, I think we're at a stage now where talking about all things trade serves more as just teasing those of us already out of trades, especially those of us that have trade addictions and start twitching at the mere mention of the word trade. Just twitching, don't know what that's from. Of those with trades left, believe it or not, of those in the top 1K, 37% of coaches have 0 trades, 38% have 1 trade remaining, 19% have 2, and 6% of sickos, I'm going to call them, have 3 to 4 left. Who are you people? What are you doing?
Again, donations accepted.
Yeah, exactly. Please send them our way. There was actually someone on Twitter that slid into my DMs and was asking about. Actually, it might have been. How was that?
Don't worry.
What was that?
I said for feet pie picks.
Oh yeah, the feet pie picks. Yes, forgot about those. Yeah. No, they'll for those people tuning in that requested them, they'll be in your inbox shortly. No, there was someone that slid into my DMs and was asking about. I think they had 3 trades remaining. Oh no, it was actually I think it was someone on the YouTube video on the team talk in the comment section. They said they had 3 trades remaining with, get this, 2 boosts. So credit to you for having the.
That's amazing.
What's the word? Abstinence to abstain.
I don't think you're going to be able to use one of those boosts.
Yeah, exactly right. So
I
don't know. But that's what we're here. We're here to coach them, Liam. Coach them through the use of boosts, and that's something we'll probably discuss later on when we're talking about strategy and whatnot, potentially with Joe later in the episode. But I guess with this in mind, considering the fact the majority of people no longer have any trades, from here on out, I think we'll be condensing this segment by pinpointing one player in each position of defense, midfield, ruck, and forward that might serve as luxury trade-ins, especially for those that are looking for the edge to win a crucial league final. So, of course, probably comes down to as well, if you've got trades up your sleeve and you're in a prelim, you obviously have the double chance, or if you're outside the top 4 or, in the range, depending on the size of your league, of whether or not you have one bite at the cherry as opposed to 2. That'll probably dictate as to whether or not you want to use that trade. So, however, Liam, before we delve into chatting about all things trades, it is time now to usher in our special guest for this week, and he's a fellow Bombers Nuffy, just like you, Liam, and is one half one half of our friends over at the Centre Bounce, and it's Big Joe, Little Joe, Medium Joe. There's Big J, but we'll call him Joe. We'll call him, you know what? In fact, we'll call him Hello Joe.
From now on, the baby sleeps in the crib. Iron helps us play. Hello, Joe. From now on.
Art, what are you doing? Wake up! You're gonna go to school tomorrow.
Sorry, I tried to put on a Marge voice, but I'm not the best impersonation. So I hope I didn't butcher her for you guys.
No, you did very well with that. That was absolutely on par with the sort of lunacy that we like to sprinkle into each and every episode from week to week. So you're at home. You're at home. You're one of us here, Joe. So thank you so much for joining us, mate. Really appreciate it.
No, I really appreciate you guys having me on. Really excited to talk, to reminisce, talk a bit about this season, some really good players to hopefully bring in for anybody who has a spare trade. I mean, I don't know what that is. What is a spare trade? I don't even know what a trade is anymore, let alone a spare trade is at this point of the season.
We just mentioned as a bit of a prelude that any discussion around trades at the moment. So we've rejigged the upcoming trade segment, which we'll have you involved in, of course. But it's purely based upon the fact that every time we mention trades, it just gives us a bit of a twitch because we're like we need a hit, need a quick hit. And it's not it's really more torturous than anything. So,
and we are asking for donations of trades from those that do have. Apparently, there's people with like 3 trades left. Like, seriously, what are you doing with that?
Unreal.
Yeah.
I've got over $100,000 in the bank. I'd be very happy to pay someone 50 of it just to give me a trade. Just one sneaky little trade would certainly mean the world to me at this point in time.
Well, we'll delve into that as well, like in terms of a discussion point, because I did see on Twitter just about the future of SuperCoach in 2024 and beyond, but we'll talk about it in a bit more detail. But one of those is potentially using part of your bank balance or your salary cap to potentially buy an extra trade. So we'll, I guess, foreshadow that as one of the questions that we'll pose your way later in the episode.
Yeah. But before we jump in, how have you been traveling, Joe, 23 so far? In terms of, I guess, your ranking and probably more importantly at this stage, have you qualified for any crucial cash leagues?
No, I haven't been playing any cash leagues this year. It's been I've certainly taken a back seat this time around. It's my first year working with Big J over at the Centre Bounce, doing some content creation work this year. And it definitely was a different experience playing SuperCoach this year as a content creator, as opposed to just doing your own thing and not having people monitoring your step, telling people what your trades are going to be in advance, and all of those wonderful things. The season's been a lot longer. I've also have felt, because you're sort of preparing for the year to come. My season rank at this point is 4,066. Had a very slow start to the year. I was at around 80,000 in round 2, so certainly had to work my way back. Went with a more mid-price madness sort of strategy this year, which unfortunately didn't go as well as I would have hoped it would have gone on paper. But that is the risk that you face with the madness that is mid-pricer, and I'm missing out on some crucial players, especially in the ruck, which is seeing me slide. Number 1 being Mr. Tim English. So I'm now ranked 4,066. Not quite as great as the season I had last year, where I finished like top 120. But you can't. It's very hard to back up high finishes year upon year. So that's why the best are the best. We're just students of the game and looking to do the best we can and have some fun along the way.
Yep, exactly right. That's the name of the game, isn't it? Especially this time of year when you're kind of not near the top and you're like, oh, let's just have some fun. Let's just take some risks and all that. So we were chatting earlier about we're kind of regretful. Like, we're titling this episode "The English Lesson," and he was one of the lessons to come out of the weekend for me anyway, because I own him and I've had the VC on him for most weeks, and I tried to be too cute and I put the VC on Dacos because he was one of the more highly VC'd players, and I thought, I'll just hedge my bets, go down that route, and should have followed my gut and listened to my heart. And Liam was the same. He was thinking Gulden would have been a definite pot option off the back of a down week. So yeah, it's definitely that way. But before we I guess delve into things, we'll just, as I mentioned earlier, bit of a sprinkling of things to come. So we do have some more questions to throw your way, a bit more hard-hitting questions towards the back end of the in terms of, as we mentioned, key strategic learnings from 2023 and your early thoughts for 2024. So we'll let you stew on those until then. But for now, we're about to run through some unique pod options or ace up the sleeve type luxury trade-in options to help our viewers and listeners potentially get a leg up over their opponents in the first final. So Liam, do you want to kick us off with the first of the lines, which is in defense?
Yeah, let's kick off with none other than the Burn Boy. I feel like from this round, it's not even his fault. It's bloody Ross Lyon.
Ross the toss.
Ross the toss. Obviously, defender eligible, 625.8k, averaging 112.8 for the season with a break even of 87. And despite being largely nullified on the weekend, he remains by far and away the player to target in defense. While he did score 58 in the game where he was tagged, he has scored 134, 134, 172, 136, and 170 games in the games preceding the 102 against the Saints. So he did have that 58 against the Roos 3 weeks ago now.
Yeah.
In terms of opponents, he does face in the final 4 weeks, he has Collingwood, positive correlation with Pies conceding points to defenders, Western Bulldogs with another positive correlation with Dogs conceding the most points to defenders, Melbourne, who break even matchup wise, and Fremantle, who also tend to have a reasonably even matchup for their defenders. So really positive, I'd say, overall, because he's got those 2 positives and two even sort of splits there. His ownership only rose by just 1% to 16%. So again, highlights the inability for many to afford, the trades, but also the bank balance to bring him in. And so is an Uber pod and an Uber VC and C option. I think probably leaning more towards VC at this stage, personally, if you can. But if you need to throw a haymaker, I wouldn't mind a C on him. Overall, though, he is an ace up the sleeve that could help win you crucial matches in your head-to-head leagues. I mean, I know he was tagged 3 weeks ago for a score of 58, but he was tagged on the weekend and still scored 102.
Yeah.
So it's not the end of the world.
It was an interesting one as well. Like that game, I was watching it, and it wasn't like a traditional tag where like he's being followed around by Cooper Sharman. It was more the way that the Saints entered their forward 50. They were no longer like trying to spot up kicks like, at the 25-meter mark. They were like kicking super long, so all the Hawks defenders had to push back into one spot. And a lot of the ball was like bobbling out the back and crumbs, all that sort of stuff. So it was very rare that Sicily had the open space to really exploit or, utilize his intercept marking. So, yeah, and that's a very good point as well, I think, in terms of the VC side of things, because he is, I guess, so lowly owned compared to the likes of a Dacos, Dawson, Sinclair, all that. You can probably afford to put the VC on him because there aren't that many that are able to do so. So you kind of like, you have that bit of extra leeway to roll the VC through him, provided that they play early enough, which that was the big killer on the weekend that played such a late game on Sunday. Would have been awesome to put the VC on him. And if you had a non-playing DPP player like from West Coast, that would have been awesome. But yeah, wasn't to be. But just throwing to yourself, Joe, were there any players that you pinpointed that you might have been keen on if you had trades up your sleeve and were in this position where you kind of needed a trade to, if you come up against a tough opponent, especially to help you get a leg up?
I personally like the look of Nazaya Wangani Miller, which certainly is really annoying for me because I started the guy knowing that this is the sort of output that we're going to get from him. And alas, he waited until I traded him out before he finally came good. I think he's a burn player. He's on my never. No, he's not on my never again. He's a very classy player. The Saints love the ball in his hands. He's got, even though you'd expect it to be a win. They won quite comfortably, the Saints, on the weekend. They weren't challenged too much by the Hawks, and yet he still managed to go at 107 points. So he's when he's able to get his good ball use, he's getting some kick-ins. He had 5 on the weekend. He continues to get kick-ins, which is something that's really beneficial for him. He's got the DPP, which is great for those who have like a Will Day, for example, in their team. A lot of people have Dawson as well, so it's great that you've got more DPP, especially if, we're in the last stretch, last month, and this is like your final trade, just to make sure you get yourself some extra leeway, some extra coverage. Plus, their run isn't the easiest. So I'd expect him in the back line would also get some supply. And you guys, Damo over there, you guys got him this week. It's the massive game between the Blues and the Saints. And there are times where you guys just don't have your kicking boots on and you could miss. So we could see some more kick-ins for Nazaya, and you guys tend to leak some points to general defenders as well. So if you had to trade, he's under 500K and he's going very well. I like Nazaya Wanganui-Miller.
Yep, don't mind that at all. That's a very good pickup as well, because he's only in, like talking about Pod Factor, he's only in 3% of teams, which I thought it would have been way higher, because I know there was a few people that jumped on him around about that sort of midway point of the season, or at least coming out of the buys when he started to come good. So I thought it would have been more, but really love the recommendation there from you, Joe. That's amazing, especially with the DPP. That's super handy. And
it's really been pretty consistent since round 7 or 8. Like,
I
a couple of low scores. Yeah. Round 7, 84. And then, he's had like a 57, a 59, and a 68 sporadically through there. But all the rest have been 100 or 90s since then.
Yep.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah. Yeah, it's he's come good at the right time, but he's similar to both of us. I don't know if you started him with regards to Flanders. Liam and I started him and had high hopes for him. Looked really good in the preseason, and then wasn't getting opportunities, all that sort of stuff. And then magically, I think it was like a week or two before Stewie Jew got the arse. He probably got the memo, and Flanders is like dobbed him in and said, "Let's just give him the arse because I need a bit of a go on the midfield." And he's just been killing it. Like, he's now kind of taken the step up in his game that we all thought he would. And he's just one of those guys that at least it kind of gives you a little bit of validation. You're like, okay, I was onto it early, but maybe it was too early. It's just,
again, since round 15, he's dropped below 100 twice for a 96 and an 85.
Yeah, crazy. And he might
Before
be actually
that,
one to discuss. Yes.
His highest was 64.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, crazy. But let's move on to the midfield, and it's a guy that we've spoken of for a couple of weeks now, but I think he's kind of at the point now where you can't ignore him, and it is LDU, Luke Davies-Uniacke, or UDL, as you like to call him. Don't know what flavour it would be. Berry, maybe. Yeah, who knows. But midfielder, of course, 609.8K, averaging a 113.5 with a break-even of 91. And he is once again in the spotlight, as I mentioned, as someone that cannot be ignored. And since his return from injury, LDU has gone 94, 134, 129, 133, and 127 for a 5-round average of 123.4, which ranks him as the equal second best behind Petrarca. So he's absolutely in the form of the season for him anyway to date. And despite the return of the engine room regular in Simpkin on the weekend, who chewed up the most CBAs with 88%, LDU CBAs actually went up by 1% to 83%. So there's no doubting his role. He hasn't left the engine room at all. So it probably says that he is the outright second fiddle. And I think at this point, there is really no point in ignoring him as an option based upon, we kind of foreshadowed in the weeks prior that, yes, he's got injury risk, and we both know quite well, Liam and I. Did you own him at any stage, Joe?
No, I didn't. I managed to dodge that bullet.
I had him for maybe about 3 weeks. Liam maybe an extra week when he was the late.
I had him in the late out. I brought him
in the warm up where he got pulled from the game due
and
to
then
tightness.
All of SuperCoach crashed as well. That was an insane week.
Yeah,
that was just it. So it wasn't very good at all. But yeah, just with regards to those issues, like we've kind of been foreshadowing them, saying like they could prop up, and because he's had multiple issues, soft tissue related, we thought maybe there's that issue. But I guess with each week now, there's only 4 weeks remaining. You can kind of offset the risk with the potential extra points that you gain, considering he is, as I said, like the equal second best with regards to 5-round average behind Petrarca. And looking forward to his final 4 weeks, he faces Melbourne, Essendon, Richmond, and Gold Coast. So I guess the main thing for him now, injury aside, is the tag being the biggest issue. And you'd think he would avoid one against the likes of Melbourne and especially Richmond because they don't tag. You boys might be able to weigh in here, both being Don's boys. But Essendon, potentially a small chance. Could they play someone through him? or will they let him
I
go?
don't think so.
I'd be surprised if they did.
We might
Okay,
just, at best, we might put like an Archie Perkins to stand next to him at a stoppage, but it's not a tag by any
Not a
stretch.
tag,
And
yeah.
and Archie can't go with LD when he goes in and under. Archie's too worried about his hair, I think. So LDU will be fine against us, I'm sure.
Oh, very good. There you go. There's a couple of ticks there from both of you guys. And with Gold Coast being the last game, so that's probably a 50-50 depending on if the running man Took Miller is utilised in that role like he was surprisingly on the weekend against Neil at Stages, which I thought he was kind of past that role. So the old horror author Stephen King at the helm there, he's trying to pull some extra strings there.
I'm pretty sure Took Miller was trying to pull something else from Zorko as well that game.
Very good. Very good. Oh, so he claims. Didn't know he had anything down there to pull, but yeah. It was actually quite funny. If you follow on Instagram, there's an account called No Context AFL, and they post up all these funny clips. And they posted up, it was like captured on the ump's mic when like immediately got up from the ground, and Zorko's like, he grabbed my balls. He grabbed my fucking nuts.
Get your hands off my penis.
Gentlemen, this is Democracy Manifest. And you, sir, are you waiting to receive my limp penis? Now, get your hands off me.
This man touched me on the penis here.
We're trying to enjoy a succulent Chinese meal. Oh, yeah, that was. It reminded me of that. I don't know why.
Very good. That's the way we work here with a lot of pop culture and meme references. So you fit in quite nicely there. You've beaten us at the punch there, Joe. So that's a big tick for you. But was there any other players apart from potentially LDU that stick out to you as maybe someone else that people could target?
He is on some people's never again list. And he is quite injury prone, but we've you've said it's fine. We can go for someone injury prone. We're in the last month of football. We don't need them for very long.
That is a direct quote.
Yeah, that's a direct quote.
I should have opened quotation. Lucky Whitfield, the orange tsunami is back in full force. He is back to his best. He is running and gunning off halfback. They are playing a scintillating brand of football. He was able to go 137 on the weekend at Mars. Out of this world, that performance. But
out of this world on Mars.
Literally and
very good by you, Joe.
Thank you. And it's in a ground that normally the Giants really struggle to play at, and they're playing a great brand of football under Adam Kingsley, who's got them surging the ball, and they look like they're really covering the ground. He's got a 3-round average of 128, if you don't mind. He's got, again, the DPP, and I love DPP, especially now, late in the season. If it is your last trade, your last luxury trade, to get someone in who is on fire, I love Lockie Whitfield. He's also a pod, only 2.2% ownership. So, yeah, I'm liking the look of Whitfield.
Jeez, like that. That's a left field one. I wouldn't have even thought of him because I wouldn't have equated him with having mid status, but he does. Completely forgot about that. Right. So it's extra handy as well. But he's almost up there, almost alongside, I reckon, for me, Josh Kelly, who I don't think I'll ever touch in my team ever again. I haven't for the past 2 seasons at least. And it served me well. But yeah, again, I've been burnt so many times by Whitfield. But yeah, as you say, like, you got to risk it for the biscuit in this time of year. And probably, match it up against the opponents that you've got. If you need some sort of edge, some sort of SuperCoach edge potentially, that's a good way to. It's a nice ticket to a bit of a pod factor. Like it.
Yeah, thank you.
And looking at
Liam,
his
what are your
home, first of all, I'm having Vietnam flashbacks.
I could tell with the glassy look over your eyes, you just kind of gone into a stupor.
Sorry. But having a look.
No.
No.
You were supposed to bring balance to the pod, not destroy it.
Nice Star Wars reference there. I liked it as well. Very good.
But once I got over that, I did start crunching the numbers. Looking at his run home, he has Sydney, who don't give away a lot of points to wing defenders. If anything, there's a negative correlation. Then he plays Port, who do give away quite a lot. Then he plays Essendon, who we all know he absolutely loves playing, and who also give away a lot of points to defenders of sort of his style. And then he plays Carlton, who, don't really, there's sort of no real correlation there. Probably a bit of a break-even game. So he has a decent run home as well in terms of scoring. Just this week would probably be his biggest issue against the Swans. But that being said, like, he's gone 115, 133, and 137 in his last three. So he's in some good form.
Yep. Can't be denied. Even though he was the chosen one. He was the chosen one back in the day.
You were the chosen one.
Yeah, look, mate, I've got the higher ground here. Don't try it. All right, don't. I know I might be below you in the camera here, but I got the higher ground. Don't try it.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to be flipping over us. Yeah, all that sort of stuff. Yeah. Boom. Anyway, enough Star Wars references. Liam, who have we got in the ruck?
Who else? Who else could it be? Maxi Gawn. 680.4k, averaging 107.4 with a break even of 98. And the price tag might surprise you, but that's because he went up 71.8k on the weekend after scoring a huge 174. He is somehow, I say this because we've got English, the in-form ruckman in the game right now, with a 3-round average of 169.7, which is ranked first, and a 5-round average of 140.8, second only behind English. He is 45.5k cheaper than English at present, so Gawn most definitely presents as a suitable alternative if you don't have the big English breakfast. Likewise, if you are after a pod against a league opponent, Gawn's ownership of 9.5% is going to give you potentially a sizable advantage, or at least one that will come ownership of English. Imagine if you also just went Marshall up to Gawn and had English as well, English and Gawn. Imagine how many points that'd be. In terms of opponents, I
traded out Gawn in round 16 to Petrarca.
At least you got Petrarca.
Over that time, you might have been okay over.
Apart from maybe the past couple of weeks, where he's probably got you back.
But in terms of total points, though, like, you might still be ahead. Round 16. Yeah.
But I'm rocking Briggs and Marshall at the moment in my ruck line.
Yeah.
So
Briggs. And in terms of opponents, I'm going to move straight on from Briggs. He faces the final 4 weeks. His opponents are North Melbourne with Goldstein or Cherry, concede the most points by a long way, averaging 110.2. Carlton with a Pitney TDK, break even, pretty much, averaging 101.3. Hawthorn up against probably Meek. And this is obviously, when I say average, this is the average by Gawn against those teams. Hawthorn, Meek, he breaks even again. He will break even, you'd expect, averaging by Gawn 140.4. When I say break even again, it's the way that those matchups are. And Sydney, bloody hell, McLean and Amati. I'm not going to say what sort of correlation that is because we should all know it. And he's averaging 117.6 against the Swans. So it's all coming up maxi.
And you can probably use English as like the yardstick here, the measuring stick, because against North, English scored a 133. Against Sydney, he scored 173. So yeah, he's in for a nice run of games. I think if you're an owner of Gawn, you can just kick your feet back and just be like, yep, just bring it on. Give us the bulk points. Like Homer just eating those donuts more. So you're like, donuts, see? Have all the donuts in the world. Have all the rock hitouts in the world.
It's just the Homer Simpson sitting there with the conveyor belt, just stuffing him with all those donuts. It's as a former owner, it breaks my heart, and I traded him in because I'm like, excellent. He's also going to get forward status, and I'll be able to send him forward and get English where he was in the ruck.
Yep.
But of course, Gawn spent one too many centre bounces and missed out on forward status by 0.1%. So my dream of having both Gawn and English went up in smokes there, and now I have none of them. So yes, smite me now, God. Like, honestly, I feel smitten right now.
Yeah, you feel smitten. Not the good kind, though.
No.
But yeah, so just with that, I imagine there aren't really any other players you'd be looking at outside of Gawn, maybe English, but again, like Liam, like you mentioned, he's 45.5k cheaper than English, so
yeah,
save the cash if you've got
Cameron.
2 trades, maybe.
This is Darcy Cameron, really, who seems to be in some really good form after he came back from his back injury. He's gone over 120. I think he scored 135 last week, and then in the game that went by, he scored like a 127. So he seems to be in really good form. He's got ruck forward status. Mason Cox has shown to be as inept as we all thought he was going to be, and so he's not really getting much game time. He was subbed out on the weekend against your mob last week. So, it seems to be all things are pointing towards Darcy Cameron maintaining that ruck dominance over there at Collingwood. So, he's 500k. He's a lot cheaper than all those other options, and he seems to be going really hot. So there's Darcy Cameron.
Yep. And he's got DPP.
DPP as well.
Yeah, so again, I just love the DPP options at this point of the season.
Yeah, you kind of need it as well when you're running out of trades or you've run out of trades. It's all you have to really rely on for cover.
Indeed.
Especially like cover across multiple lines, which is always handy. But you mentioned Cox there as well. He's, in terms of the ruck attendances that he's had, he's actually had the least for the previous couple of weeks. So Darcy Cameron had 78%, which was his third highest for the season, and then his second highest for the season against Carlton with 80%. So yeah, I mean, rumors are, I reckon probably Cox is going to get the arse this week, which is interesting off the back of like a 2-year contract extension.
Yeah, 2-year extension.
Timed well by him. He's just like, kick off your feet. Here we go. Doesn't matter. I'm locked in.
Exactly. It's the classic. It's the classic. Extend your contract and then pull up shit on that weekend. Excuse my French. That's what happened with Mason Redmond. He signed the 5-year extension and then, thank you very much.
My job is done here.
Exactly. My manager's done. Is all my manager's job is also done.
Yeah. Classic.
While we're talking about, just quickly, just having a look at Gawn's run with Sydney. A stat from the weekend. So the ruck duo of Andrew Phillips and Nick Bryan, the hitouts for the Essendon versus Sydney game was 52-18. Sydney had 18 hitouts for the game.
He's a baby. Nick Bryan is a baby. And Andrew Phillips is a herbivore freaking dinosaur. I don't know. What's a dinosaur herbivore? I don't know.
A Stegosaurus or one of those ones. Not a Stegosaurus.
One of those thingies, like a Brachiosaurus or something.
Yeah. Brachiosaurus, yeah.
Yeah, like for us to dominate the ruck like that.
That's a
fair
Max
point.
So owners are laughing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, just reminded me as well, when you were talking about like Mason Cox and Redmond as well, like off the back of a contract that they've just signed, like just doing nothing, like my work here is done. I was thinking about that. I think it's the Monorail episode potentially, where it has like Leonard Nimoy, like Spock.
Oh,
and was like, my work here is done. And Bunny's like, what do you mean? Your work is done. You haven't done anything. He's like, didn't I? And then disappears into nothing. That's Mason Cox.
Yeah, it's like that Sailor Moon. It's also like that Sailor Moon meme. I don't know if you guys my work here is done. It's like for every group assignment, there's always one person in every group assignment that says, my work here is done. You haven't done anything.
Yeah, you've done nothing. Classic. Well, let's round it out with, of course, the forward line. So we spoke of him earlier, and it is that man, Purple Drapes, Sam Flanders. Good old Ned Flanders. He's priced at 491.5k, averaging at 81.5 with a break-even of 85. And Flanders, he is a name that haunts not just Homer, but many of us coaches who picked him in their starting sides only for a lack of opportunity and poor scoring, seeing him being traded out. And now he is looking like an absolute world beater. He's averaging 107.6 in his past 5, ranking him the 5th best scorer in that category behind Dunks, Charlie Curnow, who's gone on a bit of a tear, Errol Gulden, your boy Liam, and Connor Rosie. And since returning to the senior side in round 15 after languishing in the VFL, he has scored 100, 119, 96, 125, 113, and an 85 on the weekend. So most notably, the increase in scoring has coincided with the increase in CBAs, with 43%, a drop to 19%, but he still scored well, 119 that week. Then he had 43%, 50%, 69%, and 32% over that period. And I guess one of the keys to targeting Flanders here is his ownership is just 5.9%. So he does present as a great pod at sub 500k price tag. And whilst Flanders is still, I guess, a slight risk due to the fact that he hasn't really got that, we always go by the numbers here. He doesn't have that, decent scoring history prior to these 6 games. There is no denying he has finally stepped up his game like we all hoped he would when many of us selected him in our starting side. So I think that's probably the one sort of caveat to it, is that he's kind of upped his game, and he's fulfilling the promise that we all thought he would. But any thoughts with regards to him, Joel? Is there anyone else that sticks out in your mind?
I'm having a look actually, and obviously there's again Darcy Cameron for those who but we can't cheat and use him twice, can we? That's not fair. I had a sneaky look at Charlie Curnow because he is in ripping form, but that run home is pretty tough against forwards, against key forwards. So probably wouldn't go Charlie Curnow. If you are looking for a spicy selection, mate, there's Tex Walker. Now Tex Walker, he's got his last game of the season is against the Eagles. He's got the Eagles, so he could go 200 that game. Now, I haven't looked anything before that. All I know is got the Eagles in the last round, and that could be the only hope for everyone, and just to make this Coleman medal race interesting. But he's in great form, Taylor Walker, and he scored a ripping 157 against Port Adelaide at home, which is obviously a very impressive thing. It is his home ground as well. And as a result, it's really skewed the Port Adelaide score against against key forwards into the positive. So his game was so influential. Now, how much you can read into that playing against a concussed player, naughty Port Adelaide? I reckon Alira Lee might be able to come back for some moolah at the end of his career for malpractice, I suppose you can say, against Port Adelaide. But obviously you got the likes of Zach Butters as well, who seems to he had a drop off, but last week he bounced back pretty well. So any of those two, I think, are pretty good. I think at this point.
Yep, no, I like that. That's very good. Like, it is sort of in line with the players that you could be looking at. I mean, Zach Butters is obviously another one, but he's more highly owned. More so mention him just purely because of the fact that he has dropped down in price. I think he was, what was he top price at? 658k back in round 12. And then since then, he kind of has been teetering around about 90, 80 odd in terms of his scoring from week to week. And he's dropped down to the 535.7 that he's priced at the moment. But his past couple of weeks, 101 and 134, did have that groin issue, I think it was. But hasn't ended up missing any weeks. But again, he's someone that is kind of fraught with danger because he does have that history of breaking down later in the season. But only 4 weeks to go. Do you take the risk? Because he's highly owned, I guess, kind of offsets the risk a little bit. But again, if you go for him with his scoring rate, potentially go for Flanders, go for Darcy Cameron. So I like those options. Go for Flanders.
Go for Flanders.
Flanders
less stupid, more sexy.
Exactly.
Sexy Flanders. I love Darcy Cameron. You get Darcy Cameron.
Stupid and sexy.
Yeah, actually, no, I probably would go Darcy Cameron if I was choosing out of all them.
Yeah. Been burnt. That's too raw. The unsexy Flanders that we had early in the season. And now it is literally a case of stupid, sexy Flanders because divert your eyes because of how he's scoring. It's it's not boding well. But it is time. And you're here. You've joined us at a perfect moment, Joe, because it is. Hold on one moment. Let me just get a prop. You'll enjoy this.
Drum roll.
It is a segment where we crown either of us as the captain, and we end up saying, board our ship, board our plane. Last week, Liam, he was on a charter flight that he was piloting.
Yep.
And
Came crashing down, but
well, that's not good. That's not good.
Mayday.
You parachuted out, so that's fine. You survived.
yeah,
That's the main thing.
I survived.
But now I've got my own little private jet I've invested in. And ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. This is I'm the captain now.
Look at me. I'm the captain now.
Oh my god.
I think
Exactly.
I think my favorite thing is the fact that the captain's hat has an anchor on it.
I know, exactly. Well, it's dual purpose because I do actually have a yacht as well that I captain. So, and I might as well just use the same hat. People have a question when I've boarded the flight though, and they're like, "Have you got the right hat?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about? Of course I do. Absolutely."
Yeah, I'm sending this ship down like an anchor. That's exactly what I'm doing. We're going down.
We're going down to visit the Titanic, as it were, or the Titan.
Oh no, too soon. Too soon.
That's a second consecutive week that we've made gags about. Well, you can blame me for doing that again.
Yes.
Jokes about Titan. We're talking about millionaires. Talking about Elon Musk, who copped a lot of flack for mentioning Elon Musk. People in the comments section were like, "Stop being political," and we're like, "We just mentioned about Twitter and X." And yeah, so it's an ongoing gag now. So if you tune in,
mentioning Elon Musk is now becoming political, is it?
Apparently. But then that was off the back of mentioning a billionaire. And then when we were talking about George Hewitt, and they said his price has plummeted that low, it's almost at the same depth as the Titanic. And then Liam wanted to make a gag, and I could see his mind ticking over. I said, "What is it? Are you going to mention something about if his price goes any lower, he's going to implode?"
I didn't say it.
I said it. I just put the words in your mouth. Come on, it's dark humor. It's
dark humor. I'll give you that. It's dark humor, and I don't know why you're a millionaire spending money to go down to the bottom of the sea. It's ridiculous. But I do feel sorry for that one kid in there.
Yeah,
was there against his will.
Yeah.
I told you didn't want to come down here. I told you so.
Exactly.
In the world.
Oh, but oh well. Anyway, it is, of course, back on track. I'm the captain now. So in I'm the captain now, we chat about the VC and C options you've got for the upcoming round of SuperCoach. As always, we scrounged through the data and found the best options for you to consider. I like how we just went off on a massive tangent. That's what we do here virtually at SuperCoach Edge, Joe. We just go off on tangents.
Yeah, it's tangent central.
Tangent central. And for some reason, people could keep tuning back into us. There must be just gluttons for punishment and just everything else. They just
you guys are funny. It's good to watch. If we wanted just pure SuperCoach knowledge, they could just jump onto ChatGPT and talk up what are some good trade options this week. We want the personality, mate. It's
that's exactly right. When it does get to that stage where the AI starts to take over, we'll all be battling the AI.
We'll just have to go back to stand-up comedy, guys. We just have to go stand-up comedy. It is what it is.
Oh, exactly.
Whenever I talk to ChatGPT, I always say thank you and please, just so that when, if the AI attacks us, it's going to be like, no, Liam's a good guy.
We'll spare him.
He's one of us. Yeah. He's polite.
Meanwhile, Elon Musk is going to be spared because he is a robot, so don't worry about that. There we go. Ready? And a lot of comments.
And Mark Zuckerberg's a lizard. So
that is true.
All of our social media overlords are other species.
That being said, I haven't noticed that
Michelle Obama is probably a man as well.
We don't cop it for Zuckerberg comments. We're just Elon comments.
Yeah, I don't understand what it is. It's just they got I don't know.
They're afraid of Zuck. Clearly, they're afraid to be abducted in the middle of the night. Meta comes through your dark screen in the middle of the night and takes your information. I don't know. It's bizarre. Yeah.
Crazy. Anyway, there's another tangent we went down. Back on track, of course, as well. So it is I'm the captain now. So Liam, shall we kick it off with? I guess we're going to go through. We usually go through game by game. But we're just going to go through the top players in terms of the averages for. Well, I guess against the teams that they're facing this week. So Liam, I'm going to kick us off.
Yes, I'm going to kick us off, and this guy does not have a good average against the team he's playing, but you can't look past him. It is Tim English, 145, 96, 50, and 103 in his last 4 games.
Against the
As I
Tigers.
quickly try and figure out who he is playing against. The Tigers, you're all right.
I don't know who is
For an
playing,
average of
but when I find out,
98.5.
I'll tell you, it's not very good.
Yeah. 98.5. So not a great average there, but you can't look past him.
Nankervis is back this week.
It is Nank the Tank, and I'm spitting chips at that as an English owner. I thought, here we go, rubbing my hands together, little trotters together, channeling my piggy Oliver, because he's just gorging on points from week to week, and he's passed 6 games now. He's gone 133, 127, 130, 173, 134, and a 163 against the Briglet. So I'm going to put the VC on him. I've done my dash. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. And he's the champion data's love child. I think he's a new age Bont. I reckon he's been gifted so many extra points. There was a game there where he scored a 99, I think it was, against Port Adelaide, round 13. And I watched that game. He played like shit. I have no idea how he scored a 99. Incredible. So I'm going to be riding that champion data wave, putting the lipstick on, Steve Buscemi style from Billy Madison, crossing names off my list, and just basking back in the glory like champion data do. They normally get on their knees, but that's a different story. But let's move on to Marcus Bontempelli. And in his last 4 against the Tigs, he's scored 122, 136, 107, and a 96 for an average of 115.25. Should mention as well, Joe, what were your thoughts about English?
I hate him.
There you go. That's enough said.
I hate to not own him, and I hate the SuperCoach love him. So I love to hate him, and it is what it is. Well done, lucky bastards! I swear, you own him.
I'm only thinking. I thank Hodor for that. Shrek, Sean Darcy for going down injured. Otherwise, I wouldn't have had him in my team. So it's been a bit of a blessing in disguise. But with regards to Bont, so he hasn't had the best, I guess, average against thereabouts against the Tigs, but nothing to really write home about apart from that 136. 122 was the score that he had most recently in round 4 against them. I don't know, but he averages 125.1, so he's right up there historically. Yeah, he's an option, I think, for those people that don't own English. Thoughts?
Yeah, not for me though. He's not playing right. I feel like he's carrying an injury. A lot of players are carrying injuries, but I think he's got something wrong with his calf, and I think it's limiting his game. They're looking to use other players, I feel, and looking to manage him with the hopes that they can get to finals and him have a big say in the final series. So, look, I don't know. He just doesn't pass my eye test. He's still one of the best players in the league, without a doubt, when he's on, and he showcased that against us in spades. Yeah. But I don't know. I just don't think he's playing right. I'd much rather go with Zachy Merritt playing against the West Coast Eagles, who are dead last for conceding points against midfielders. It's our home game. We're playing at Marvel Stadium, and Zachy, he should really be in contention for All-Australian. He has had an absolutely sensational season to date. I'm not just saying that because I'm an Essendon supporter. I'm sure you'd back me up on this, Damo. Objectively speaking, Zach Merritt is one of the best midfielders in the comp. Yes? Yes?
Absolutely. 100%. Good. He is the best midfielder of all time. That's me channeling my Elon Musk. But no, absolutely.
I don't know if you've seen on. Sorry, I got on another tangent here. Have you seen on Twitter that Mark Murphy is not as good as Scott Pendlebury?
Mark Murphy is not as good as Scott Pendlebury.
No. Apparently, there's a guy, a Carlton supporter, making the argument that Murphy is better than Pendles.
Okay. So Pendles is not as good as Mark Murphy, is what this guy is saying. Oh, okay.
Sorry, just when you said that Merritt is the best midfielder ever, that's what it reminded me of.
That's very applicable. And to that supporter, he needs to pop another eyeball into his skull, I think, because he's too one-eyed. Even I objectively can say that is a ridiculous call. Scott Pendlebury, every single day of the week. I'm sorry. I love Murph, but no. That's just a silly call.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mark Murphy. Mark Murphy. Mark Mother Fishing. I'll leave it there. I'm sorry.
Yeah. But it's a good segue, Liam, because Zach Merritt, he's the next one to chat about.
He is. Now, he hasn't got the best average against the Eagles. Scores of
The Eagles have
110.
never been shitter. The Eagles have
Yeah,
never
that
been
is true.
shitter,
Yeah.
and
I
he's
don't
never
think
been
we
better.
can. It's not a bad average though. It's also it's okay. 110, 111, 119, 125 for an average of 116.25 in his last 4 against the West Coast Eagles. But I feel like you're right. I feel like he's in for a big one at Marvel.
Has to be, surely. Has to be.
Good VC option.
Yep. Again, you got me questioning it now. Do I go the VC on English? Do I bypass him again? Or do I go?
Bypass him. Bypass him. I don't want another English VC score jumping over me. Bypass him.
It's kind of like when you were reading out like the stats, they're like maybe his stats aren't good, his averages aren't too good. And it's kind of like, the Bill Hader meme where he's just dancing. He's just.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's fine. Like it'll be fine. He'll absolutely punch out a massive score. Although, could Parrish and Merritt both go big, or will they like negate each other and like eat each other's same slice of pie, as it were?
I think they'll both go big. Personally,
Yeah.
I don't think it's mutually exclusive that one has to go big. We do like to flick the ball around in the midfield before we get the clearance out, and we're unfortunately, if only I think we're like third last in the competition for stoppages per game, which is not sensational, but at the same time, both of these guys know how to spread the love, I guess, and find a lot of the pill themselves. I mean, last week, Merritt had like a 139, and Darcy Parish still scored, I think, like a 105 or something. So it's not necessary that they're going to destroy each other's scoring, especially against West Coast. I assume there's going to be a lot of love to share this week.
Yeah, I think there will be. Just going by like previous players that have played up against West Coast, like they've absolutely gone bananas. So, both of those guys should be in line for pretty big game. But the next player to look at, and it is from Adelaide, and it is Rory Laird. They face Adelaide, Gold Coast. Rory Laird in his last 4 has gone 112, 114, 95, 107 for an overall average of 107. But I think with him, he's kind of starting to hit his straps again. A little bit worried last week. Some people rolled the dice on return from that was it AC injury that he had, that he was held out for a week, and they put the C or the VC on him, and he returned dividends with the 129. Prior to that week off, when he was actually, I think he was jabbed up and played through the game against the Giants, and he scored a 151. So prior to that, he's actually scored pretty well, 125, 156. So he's in pretty solid enough form, round about that sort of captaincy mark, but nothing really major. I guess nonetheless, he's an option against the Gold Coast.
What do they jab him with to go 150? Gee, they should do that more often.
Horse. No, it wouldn't have been a horse tranquilizer. Otherwise, he would have been asleep. Whatever the opposite to that is, horsepower.
UDL.
Yeah, whatever UDL's taken, just like taking a serum out of like LDU, repurpose it as UDL, put it in his body. But peptides, maybe. I don't know. Or is it too close to home, being Don supporters? Oops. I'm sorry. Is it a good thing or a bad thing? That's a good thing, I think. Oh, well, would have got away with it too if it wasn't for those pesky Asada. But there is his teammate.
Dimitri, stuff you, you're a corrupt bastard. I hate you.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I agree wholeheartedly as a Carlton fan. But next up, Liam, we also have his teammate.
Jordan Dawson. Averaging 119.5 in his last 4 against the Suns. 106, 140, 74, and 158. That is, I don't know. I just don't trust Dawson.
Here comes the Suns. Here comes
that's a
the
thing.
Suns.
And I say,
Yes.
It's all. Well, hopefully, it's all right.
To put
Hopefully
the
it's
VC on Dawson. Let's go.
Well, hopefully that's the case. But I'm just kind of worried about like the old horror author, the old Goosebumps, aka Stephen King. Like, is he going to utilize Tuk Tuk as
The tagger.
the tagger again? Who does he go to? If so, I
gotta be
personally would
Surely
put him on
Dawson.
It's got to be
Yeah.
Dawson. Yeah, for
He's
sure.
more effective. But that's one thing to keep in
Rory
mind. I
Laird will
think.
be too busy
Both those guys.
tackling Tuke Miller to be worth tagging anybody. He just tackles everybody he sees. So
He loves it. He just
he
loves
loves to hug.
loves a cuddle. Mm.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
He's a cuddler like me.
Boom,
Ah,
chicka, wow,
wow. Moving on to James Sicily. You're a bad influence on us, Joe. Bad influence.
I'm sorry.
That's good. Keep going. James Sicily, in his last 4, who does Hawthorn play? Should know this. Collingwood, of course. In his last 4 against
We're not going well.
No, 132, 141. And
I'm sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. I don't know what I've done here.
You've caught our infectious, I don't know, in craziness disease, whatever it is. So we apologize. Yes, pass it on to Big J as well. But Sicily, so he averages 124 against the Pies, and the Pies actually give up a few points to defenders as well. So a bit of a positive matchup there. So I don't mind this. I don't think the Pies will be tagging per se, and I think with their setup, I don't know if they're going to change anything markedly. I mean, they were lucky to win against Port, obviously lost against my mob on the weekend. I wonder if they change anything off the back of that, or if they just want to back in their process. Like, it's 2 games out of 20 rounds or whatever it was, that they've actually been found out. They've lost obviously a couple of games here and there, but they haven't really adjusted since then. So I don't know. I think they'll just back in their process, and if Sicily racks up the pill, and as long as Collingwood win, I think that's probably what they'll be trying to do personally. But I said the same thing against Ross the Boss, who needed to win at all cost, and they ended up negating him with a different forward setup. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure they have the personnel to play defensive forwards over there at Collingwood. I'm pretty sure Bobby Hill will be back this week, but he's not someone that is going to directly impact Sicily as a player. But it's a question of, is Mason Cox going to, maintain his spot in the side, but I don't know. Yeah, Myercheck is their go-to guy. Yeah. They might keep Jeremy Howe there because they did trial Jeremy Howe late in the game, and he went bonkers, 3 goals in a row in that last quarter. So they might want to keep Jeremy Howe forward. Maybe he can play that defensive role and take away that intercept marking ability for Sicily.
That's a good point. Yep. Yeah, that's a very good point, actually, because he can play both ends, obviously, and he's got a defensive mindset in his game. So that's probably the best matchup. Interesting. Don't mind that. It's a very good call by you, Joe. Very, very good call. And that's part of the reason why I got you here, for your knowledge. Not just your crazy banter, but for that knowledge. I like that.
Mainly for the banter, though. Let's be real.
Yeah, exactly. Let's be real. Yeah, first and foremost.
Now,
Liam?
just to break up this little love-in, moving on to the next guy, it is Nick Dacos, and he's only played the Hawks once. So it's super easy. He's got an average of 113 and 1 score of 113.
It doesn't count that practice preseason game that has shook all of us away from him to start in our starting team, right?
Exactly right. The guy that I always get confused with the pronunciation of, Maginus, aka McGuinness, the weirdly spelt name. 2 Minute Noodles that has to be his nickname. Noodles.
Maginus.
Every time I see his name, it's just I've arrested it. I've arrested it now, but early days I was like, I'd see it and instantly Maginus. I'm like, no, it's McGuinness. It's just the double G, double N, whatever it is, and it's just
yeah.
See, in my head I still say Maginus, but out loud I say oh my god, McGuinness. But in my head, whenever I read it, it's Maginus.
Maginus, yeah, the double N, double S.
Come on.
Yeah, the Noodles. Good old Noodles. But surely Noodles, we're going to dub him Noodles from now on. Surely he goes to Dacos. Surely. Yep. Although, having said that, they didn't put the Noodles on LDU, which was
He's not a runner. He's not a runner.
Okay.
Maginnis. I've just merged both of the pronunciations now.
I like Maginnis.
Maginnis.
I love
Maginnis.
Magin.
Sounds like a horoscope. Maginnis.
Drink a lot of gin before this episode by the looks of things. But yeah, McGuinness, he tags runners. He tags outside players. And he tends to go with the runners, as I say. So LDU is not a runner. LDU is an in and under contested ball beast. If they want to match someone on an in and under player, they'd send Nash to him. Yeah, Dacos is an outside player, so McGuinness should go to Dacos still.
I must mention as well, and I know it's been made light of especially on Twitter, but watching it firsthand from the bleachers, and Liam, you were there. Liam came along and he was supporting Carlton. I can tell he wasn't, but he was supporting no one.
I was supporting absolutely no one.
He was on the fence.
I was sitting there with my arms folded, just watching, and then no matter who scored a goal, I was like, "No, I can't do it."
Yeah, I was like, "Come on, Liam! Come on, Liam!" Meanwhile, I was just yelling and screaming and swearing like an absolute madman. But
so it was you that was doing that behind. No, I'm just joking. Yeah.
Not as bad as the guy I had sitting next to me who made two noises the whole game.
Oh yeah.
One of which was "woohoo," and the other one was "oh." That was it.
You sure he wasn't a mute? And that was like his only way of communication? Woohoo! I'll be doing that from now on. I'll do that this weekend against the Saints. Woohoo! Every time we kick a goal and every time they kick a goal. But with Dacos, and you would have seen it as well, Liam being there live, but there were instances there where, again, he pulled out of the contest. And I love the fact that Michael Voss, and I'm a big... I criticize Voss, and he's turned it around. I'll give him tip the cap to him for that. But playing Cripper, the most contested player in our team, big beast of a bloke, as you know, on Nick Dacos at various stages, hilarious. The most uncontested player up against the most contested beast was so funny. But he struggled majorly. And there's actually rumor I saw on Twitter, and it was on TikTok as well, where apparently he's got a bit of an ankle niggle. And there's vision of him as he's about to run through the banner where he bends down, like he takes a step and like, you know, they do the jump and whatever, and they stretch their quads and hammies. He landed and like lifted his foot and like rotated his ankle and like had like a bit of a wince on his face, then ended up kicking the ball towards goal off camera and then ran through the banner and was like hobbling. So I wonder if there's a bit of substance to that. Having seen that vision, normally I would be like, oh, it's just a rumor, but saw that vision. I might try and track it down and pop it up. But I think it was the Pies that ended up posting it on their TikTok. So they're giving away a bit of insight there. Interesting. So
interesting.
Yeah, it makes me wonder as well if he does carry that niggle, if he's rested at some stage, which will be absolutely havoc.
There's a bye after round 24.
True. Yeah.
Get him through. Come on, guys. Do it. Come on, Craig. Do it for us, SuperCoach owners, please. We don't have any trades left.
Yeah, exactly. Please. Oh, well, but that's fun to watch.
More, sir, please.
Exactly. That's how we are every week with my captain's hat, using it as like a dish. Please, sir, can I have some more? But next up, Errol Gulden, Liam. How is he
My
gone?
boy.
Yep.
My boy. He is playing
the Giants.
The Giants. The
Battle of the
Bridge. 119 in his last game against the Swans, then a 97, a 131, and a 66 for an average of 103.25 in his last 4 games against them. I don't know. It's an awkward time. Plays 7:30 on a Saturday. It's sort of bordering on needing to be a C option.
He hasn't played this role against them before. He's playing a lot more on the ball these days. He is scoring really well, and he can push forward and kick goals. So it's
I do love him.
It's the best Errol Gulden we've ever seen, and he's going to have a really exciting career. That's for sure. He
must make mention as well. Like we've been highlighting, the fact that whenever Gulden's had a bad round, then the very next round he comes out and kills it. He's gone on a bit of a tear. It hasn't just been, if we're talking about trends, and we love numbers and all things trends here, back in round 6, scored a 47. Very next week, he scored a 119, then a 156 and a 156 back-to-back. Round 13, 62 against the Saints. And then he continued a massive run, 111, 164, 124, 143, 117, up until the 66, the down game a couple of weeks ago against Freo, and then bounced back with that 152 against your mob. Does he do it again? Does he continue the trend where he has another massive game?
Yeah.
I like trends. I like numbers.
The trend is your friend.
Oh, look at that motto. I'm going to call this a motto of the episode. The trend is your friend. Absolutely. I don't mind it, but as you say, Liam, it's kind of like a bit of a awkward.
It's just the awkward
sort of
timing.
around.
Yeah, if he played Saturday Arvo, it depends.
If you've got Gorn. If
you've got a Gorn, yeah. If you've got
he's
a Gorn,
great VC option.
True, very true.
You'd have to have a Gorn. I mean, probably
you could have a Matt Johnson if he's been dropped again.
Yeah.
You could have a Drury, for example, on your bench. You know what I mean? So there are options there.
Yeah, don't mind it. I guess if it kind of limits the amount of people that can utilize that. If you got Gorn, as you say, 100%. Nice little risk to take there, and because it's going to be I think the later the game, the more pod an option the player is. So
might
bode well.
Gorn gets as well. Gorn loves a late game where he can just go bananas.
Absolutely loves it. Yep. Moving on to the next player, and it is LDU. He scored a 97. This is up against the Ds, of course. 97, 97, and a 23, which may have been, I assume, an injury game. And that's an average of 72.33. Otherwise, it is an average of, discounting that game, 97 between the two games. Oh, fantastic, isn't it? Easy as. Otherwise, I guess with LDU, if you got him, again, I like him as an option. But if you're someone with flushed with options there, with a Gorn up against LDU, you go with Gorn 100%, surely. But otherwise, I don't mind LDU as a VC option. Maybe a C option, but again, if you're going VC, you'd need someone of a high caliber in either the St Kilda Carlton game or Freo and Lions game. Got a few options we'll talk about in a moment.
Yeah. Other side of the field, you got Christian Petrarca, 167, 114, 78, and 160 in his last 4 against North, for an average of 129.75. And North are giving away quite a lot of points to midfielders. I mean, he's playing a bit more forward. I don't know what they're doing forward of the ball. I'd have to check. North also giving away quite a lot of points to general forwards as well. So either way, good for Christian Petrarca.
Yep, 100%. I like him.
He's my captain this week. Unfortunately, I don't have English, don't have Gorn, don't have anybody good. I'm going Petrarca as my captain this week.
Yep, I don't mind it. Well, on the weekend as well,
I think it's good.
Even though he's been splitting his time between mid and forward, he had 69%, which is his most in the past month. And very nice dinner for 2, as we all know, which is even better. So I can see what you're getting at there, Joe. You pulled me up because normally I'd be saying nice.
Very nice.
Very nice. So
this is my sister. No, I'm just, okay, I'll stop.
Love a good Borat gag. But I like him as well. And good old track. He has been scoring quite well despite the forward split. And on the weekend, I think he only scored, was it 1 goal, 3 from memory?
Yeah, he did.
Thereabouts, yeah. It scored a 141, which is his highest score since round 12 when he scored a 159 against my mob. But every single week, he's virtually been hovering around about that 120 mark. So, again, captaincy territory. So, can't go too wrong. He's got the high floor. Hasn't really hit his ceiling, which I guess on the weekend you could probably say that 141 is. But Richmond give up a few points to opposition. I guess more quality opposition mids historically as well. But, as you roll through there, Liam, North, very, very good matchup correlation there. Let's move on to this next guy and kind of speaks for himself here. Maxi Gorn. Probably don't even look at his previous 3 games. 80, 89, and a 63. But prior to that, 212 for an overall average of 111 across those 4 games. But yeah, we spoke of him earlier. I think there's a matchup there. Now that they're giving more ruck time still to Cherry over Goldstein. Goldstein's been more of a negating type ruck historically, where opposition rucks have struggled to actually score against him. But now that they're giving more ruck contest to Cherry, I think it again maybe bodes well with a positive correlation. Albeit Goldstein on the weekend, just having a look here, 57% compared to Cherry's 39, and then a 53 the week prior to Goldstein and a 44 to Cherry. So maybe they're just working out because he had a couple of blunders. Especially against the Hawks when he played them when Goldstein wasn't playing. So don't mind it. And it is gone after all. If he's going to be out right ruck again, goes without saying. So I think he's just an option. You've got to factor him in. And yeah, I'd be happy enough if I own him to put the C on him.
Yep, I agree. That's what I'd be doing.
Yep.
If I owned him. If I had any trades.
Yep.
When I owned him.
That hurts you even more. I can see you just like having your own Vietnam flashbacks there, Joe. You just got the nods on, just nodding. Like, yep, self-reflection. The twitches.
The Germans are coming. No, okay,
that's moving on. Next game, St Kilda up against Carlton. We've got Jack Steele. 54, 107, 158, 136 in his last 4 against the
Vegas?
The Blues. Yeah, that's it. 113.75 is his average in those games. He's come back. I don't know what he scored on the weekend though.
Yep. But you can tell, Joe, that can you tell that Liam's having his own Vietnam flashbacks as he's like, yeah, he's come back. Yeah, he's come back. He traded him
108,
out to Mills.
I traded him to Mills literally the week that he went 140. And then he's gone. I'm pretty sure that 1 week when he scored 140 was was the total that he scored in my team over like 10 weeks.
Do it. Let the hate flow.
I was wondering if you're going to be channeling there where you can put the hood on. I was like, what is it? What's he going to come out with? Another Star Wars.
Emperor
Palpatine. And you're like, good. Embrace the hate.
Force is strong in you.
Let the hate flow through you. Yeah, like I think still he's come back.
Trust me.
Well and truly flowing. But his teammate, Jack Sinclair, he's another one to look at potentially. 105, 150, 85, and a 95 in his last 4 against Carlton with an average of 108.75. To his credit, I think he actually scored quite well on the weekend. He got tagged a little bit against the Hawks by that bloke, the Noodle, Maginnis, aka McGuinness. But I think that the tag was shed when the Hawks were going shit, and he bounced back nicely. But yeah, I think Carlton historically, I think they've arrested that trend. I'll pull up in a moment, but they were conceding a heap of points to opposition wing defenders, where that kind of fits the bill for Sinclair. Bit of a hybrid defender / yeah. Oh, they still do?
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, potentially maybe it'd be a pod, I think, at that stage of the season. Something just rattled on my desk. What it is. Interesting. There's something rattling. There might be a crow out there just tapping on the window. Who knows?
The Germans.
Oh my God.
Sorry, not political here. At least it's your channel.
It's actually Elon. He's finally come for you.
Elon. You're talking about me.
Yeah. How dare you? Beep, boop, beep, boop. I actually didn't see a Tesla roll up in the drive, so it makes sense as it conked out, rolled into the driveway.
But next... his rocket.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He should have. To the moon.
Anyway.
It's a Miles Stadium.
It's my stadium. Liam, round us out. Who we got the second last player here?
Second last player is Lockie Neal, 124, 87, 171, and 79 in his last 4 against the Dockers. 115.25 is that average for him. Had a down one on the weekend being tagged by Tuk Tuk.
Yep. The running man. Yep, unfortunate there. Wouldn't have
And it's
faith
the
in
last
him,
game of the
don't-
round, so we can't possibly do it. We can't possibly put a C.
No, you can't. No, we've always said this, Joe. That's like, it's an unspoken rule. I don't know where it came from, but we always feel like you can't do it.
Yeah.
It's which I think we did it early in the season with potentially Darcy when he was facing West Coast or something, and went bananas, of course. We're like, you can't do it, but you have to do it. So yeah, but in this case, yeah,
It's illegal.
does he?
It's illegal. It's against
It
the
is
law.
illegal.
You're not allowed to do it.
No,
That might have been the FBI knocking on your door, actually. Knocking on your window door.
Suggesting
Probably makes sense.
this.
Yeah.
No,
Uh,
let's.
let's-
I don't know.
No.
I don't know. As great as Lockie Neal is, and is he playing at home or is he playing away this week?
He's playing away, so it's at Optus Stadium.
Playing away? Nah. I only pick Lockie Neal was playing at home.
Yep, I agree. Yep, that'll do. That'll do, Lockie. That'll do. Let's round it out with Josh Dunkley, of course. He's scored in his past 4 against the Dockers: 109, 155, 87, and a 93 for an average of 111. But he's returned in some very, very nice form since injury. 115 and a 133 on the weekend. I think that's the one thing as well, that opposition teams can see how susceptible Neal is to the tag, so they go and tag him, which means there's more slice of the pie, as you always say, to go around for dunks. So might bode well. I think of those two. Yeah, I'd be going for dunks if you want to, especially if you're in a I guess a head-to-head final league matchup here, and you need to go a bit of a Hail Mary late in the round, and your opposition has already used their VC or C. He might be one to maybe throw the Hail Mary out. Maybe. But let's round out this segment by jumping into our little captaincy head-to-head. Now, just to fill you in, Joe, and for those people tuning in for the first time, coming across from the Centre Bounce crew. And, of course, we forgot to mention from the very top as well, and do it now, by the way. You can do it at the very end as well when we bid you adieu. But where can people find you, of course, on Twitter, Facebook, if you're on there, and, of course, on YouTube?
Yeah, absolutely. My personal Twitter is at Chabby_Joe, so CHABBY_Joe from the Centre Bounce. The Twitter handle for the Centre Bounce. Yes, English works very well. Is at Centre_Bounce. Again, it is the YouTube channel, the Centre Bounce, where we talk SuperCoach, much like you guys. We also do some general football content as well. We pumped out did a team review for every single one of the teams last year over the preseason.
Crazy.
It was a lot of fun to do. And every Sunday nights, we have fan cams at 9 p.m. live, where you can come onto our channel and talk to us directly about how your footy team did during the week. So if you're sad, if you're happy, if you're in between, we love to hear from everybody at the Centre Bounce. Thank you so much, guys, for having me on so far. It's been great.
Very nice. And don't worry about the lack of English, because, as I said, I almost stuffed up then. But this is titled, this episode, The English Lesson. So we're all giving ourselves a bit of a lesson about all things English, player and language, all the same.
And breakfast.
And breakfast, yeah, and tea, English tea as well. English breakfast tea, that's very nice as well. But back to the point, just to fill you in and everyone else that's tuning in, so they know where to find yourself, and Big J as well, of course. But each week, Liam and I have a little captaincy head-to-head where we choose a player that we think is going to score the best. What's our best captaincy option heading into the round? And just to fill you in, the ledger has been, I guess, not squared, but what's the ledger's been advanced in my in my side of the field. I've gone to 11 wins. Liam's on 8, and on the weekend I ended up choosing English, my man, who scored at 163. I didn't choose English in my own team because I'm an idiot, but hopefully those people tuning in did likewise and put the VC or the C on him. And Liam went for my first option because he had the first pick. So we alternate who has the first pick each week as well. Right. So Liam had the first pick last episode. He went for Sicily. I went for English. So I would have thought Sicily would have blown English out of the park, but wasn't to be. So English 163, Sicily 102, and delivered me the goods. gifted me the win and extended the overall points margin in my favor to 249 points. And as I said, I just wish I followed my own lead. Again, followed my heart. Listen to your heart. And VC'd him. But no, I'm an absolute idiot. So why would I do that? So it is what it is. But Liam, I have the first choice this week, don't I?
Yes, and I know who you're going to pick.
Well, the other rule I forgot to mention is the fact that you can't choose the same player back-to-back consecutively. So because I chose English last round, I can't choose him again this round. Otherwise, I would 100%.
That's all right.
100%. So, who would I go this time around, potentially? Who would I go? I was eyeing off Rory Laird, or Rory Squared, as we like to call him, because of his square head.
Yeah, surely
But
not Rory.
We're going to be going for Zachary. Good old Zach Merritt. Have to do it. Lock him in.
Hey.
Interesting.
Yeah, interesting.
Yep.
And as you lock that in, I'm locking in Max Gorn.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were going to do. I thought you were going to go I thought you were going to go another ruckman.
I was gifting him that because there was a week.
I don't want him now. I don't want.
Gee, that is abuse out there. Cop this backhand. You can have Max Gorn. Oh,
I was throwing a bit of burley out there. I knew that would have thrown you for a loop because there was a week prior where I wanted to choose English, and I thought I actually had the first. I think it was like 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago. And anyway, I ended up. I was like, I know who I'm going to go for. I'm going to go for English. And Liam was like, no, I feel bad now because we worked out that Liam had the first choice. So Liam was like, I feel bad. I'll let you have English. And English ended up coming out. And I think it was the game where he scored 170 odd or whatever it was.
Went nuts, yeah.
Absolutely bananas. So I need to pay it forward, as it were. So
take it, Liam. Take it and run, mate. Maxi Gorn is going to go 200 this week.
Yeah, no, he is, isn't he?
You gotta take it, man.
All right, I'm taking it. it.
It was the game. It was the game.
Max Gorn is going to I don't know, get subbed off tactically in the first minute now. And that's going to be on -5.
It was the game against Sydney, like the Bulldogs game against Sydney when he was facing what's his name? Amadi and McLean when Hickey was omitted. And I was saying to Liam, I was like, I'll go for English, and then worked out that he had the first choice, and he was like, no, you go for him. So he actually passed up a 173 score. So I feel bad. I feel like I need to gift him someone.
Yeah. Makes sense. Makes sense.
So very kind, very noble.
Who said chivalry was dead?
Yeah, exactly right. But I do like Zachary Merritt as well. So
I do. I probably would have been my second option.
Yeah, I think against West Coast, it's hard to pass up, even though it is Gorney. But yeah, is what it is. So before we delve into a few hard-hitting questions with you, Joe, who are your favorite VC and C options? Have you looked that far ahead as yet?
Yeah, love Zachy Merritt. Mentioned him before, Zach Merritt, as you guys have also mentioned, against West Coast, it's impossible not to go with him. If you don't own Max Gorn and you're one of the many that own Petrarca, he's also a great option this week. Also depends, I guess, a little bit also on whether or not they call up Clayton Oliver, because apparently Clayton Oliver is medically fit to come in this week. So whether or not they risk him against North Melbourne, I don't think they will, but at the same time, it could be a good game for him to just come in for a little bit and then get subbed off, perhaps. So I don't know. That's going to be an interesting one. But I do like Petrarca. I do like Merritt. I do like, obviously, Maxi Gorn. English is also a ripping option. In terms of, those are the guys, right? I think they're the ones that clearly scream out to you. Sheasel could also be a left-wing option there. I imagine that the forward line, their back line at North Melbourne are going to get a lot of supply. And Melbourne tend to suck in front of goal in terms of their accuracy. Last week was a bit of an anomaly. For some reason, the wet weather suited them in terms of their accuracy. I think they might be better if they play blindfolded by the looks of things. So, they might start missing again they're playing in Tasmania this week. So swirly breeze, could miss a lot. Sheasel could get a lot of kick-ins. So if you really want out of this world option, there's Harry Sheasel.
There you go. Well, I'll be following that closer to see how things unfold. But yeah, there's a few options, as you mentioned, that are pretty decent and strong candidates for this VC and the C. So before we bid you adieu and farewell you, Joe, because we've absolutely loved having you on, goes without saying. I've got a few hard-hitting questions. Not that hard-hitting, actually, but hard-hitting, super hard-hitting. If I had a light here, I'd be shining it into the camera, into you. But to round us out, I feel as though, yeah, we should pick your brain a little bit more in terms of, key strategic takeaways and learnings from the 2023 season thus far. Is there anything that you've, comes down to whether or not you've actually started assessing your season as it was, but is there any sort of key takeaways that you've learned thus far that you're going to be taking forward into 2024 and beyond, whether it be in relation to using boosts, conserving trades or using trades more, how you manage your bench cover, all that sort of stuff? Like what are your key takeaways out of this season?
Yeah, no, I have started thinking about it. And especially it's quite easy to do when your most glaring obvious weakness has been staring at you right from the start, and that is my starting team. I didn't flag it earlier in this episode when I was talking before, that I went with a bit more of a mid-price heavier strategy to start the year. Wasn't quite sure how the new sub rule was going to be affecting the rookies and whether or not we're going to have a lot of good rookies. So I thought I would mitigate my exposure by, I paid up for Rory Laird, and I thought I would also supplement the rest of the list with a bunch of mid-prices who I think are likely to play out the whole game and not get subbed out. It turns out that really wasn't a very optimal way to go about it. You still need to have a lot of good rookies that are going to make you a lot of money and just keep your cash gen going throughout the year. Having those mid-prices is pretty risky, and especially when they don't come off well. Not only are you very far behind in terms of your scoring, it also sucks that you have to use up a bunch of trades to correct your team and to get in the players that you otherwise probably should be having, like your Harry Sheezels. I was out on the beach and didn't realize that he was playing in defense. So had to use a trade to get him into my side. So I think I might be starting my team next year a bit more guns and rookies, maybe not entirely. If there's any mid-prices who I think haven't played a lot of footy, or someone who has fallen a lot in terms of price due to them not playing a lot. Like I'll be looking at Callum Mills, I think, next year as someone who would obviously be at a very reduced price tag. He's been certainly managed by the Swans, having had a lot of injury concerns this year. I think if he can show in the pre-season that he's up to full fitness, he's someone that I'd like to play. I'm also going to probably be a bit more, I suppose, bolder in selecting the likes of Tim English, who I predicted was going to be the number one ruck in the comp, but I simply didn't pick him out of fear of his injury concerns and injury history. But we said it so many times on our channel that if you're going to have an injury-prone player, it's always best to start them, because you don't waste a trade later down the track. You trade them in, and then you waste a trade to trade them back out again. So I'm thinking also, though, at the same time, you got to do a cost. What was it called? The pros and cons, I suppose. A cost-benefit analysis.
Yeah.
And whenever you're trying to make your decision, and you gotta have some reasoning behind it. That paying up over $700,000 for a player in Rory Laird was something that I probably won't ever do again. I don't think it's worthwhile starting someone at that price point when you know for sure they're not going to be able to maintain it. I think I'm going to be playing a bit more guns and rookies next year, but also having more premiums that are, I suppose, better for their price point, that I know they're going to go up in price. I'm going to try and play the value game a bit more next year, as opposed to being a bit greedy and being very risky with my starting profile team. I was happy to use my boost last year really early. I thought, being able to, I saw them as extra correction trades that I could use to get the important players that I needed, and it held me in great stead. And in terms of my cover this year, I don't really have great cover. I tend to have just, I thought I had some decent cover by way of rookies, like Seamus Mitchell, for example, who was pumping out some really good scores. Also had, Matt Johnson, who was giving some good scores as well. Bailey Humphrey was giving some good scores. before he suddenly fell off a cliff. So I thought I had decent cover, but clearly rookies can't be trusted to maintain that sort of scoring throughout the whole year. I will certainly be happy next year to be a bit more aggressive in terms of finding better bench coverage, like that like the Ben Keys, for example, type of player who presented as great option, didn't break the bank, but you knew could be very decent and serviceable bench coverage. So that's something that I'll be hoping to implement next year.
Yeah, and I guess I know there's still four weeks remaining this season, but we do all tend to look forward to next year, 2024. Are there any players that you've got your eye on early? Obviously, you mentioned Mills, but I guess we're probably all interested in the forward line because it's going to be pretty bare next year.
That's right.
All of our mid forwards that we love are going to be mid eligible only, probably. So, have you had many thoughts about that as well?
Yeah, I sort of raised it in one of the streams earlier in the year, maybe a couple of weeks back, and it's like, holy crap, there's going to be no one. What's going on? And, could Darcy Cameron end up being F1 for the year next year? The way we're going, it is going to be pretty bare in the forward line, and I think it just at the same time, I think it makes it easier because the number of options there are going to be a lot less. And they're going to be a lot more obvious, the right ones to pick, I suppose, because given how small the sample size is, whereas we're going to have a lot of midfielders next year. I think just simply having so many options, it makes it harder, I think, to choose amongst all of them which one is the best option. Whereas when you've got a very shallow pool, it's very easy to see the bottom, to see this, the ocean floor, and you can it's very easy to see through it, so to speak. I'm trying to use some deep analogy here, but I might be completely butchering this. I'm sorry, but
you're going into Titanic
analysis when you have so many mids. Whereas with the forward line, because we're going to have so few options, it's going to be really easy. All right, these guys are the ones, set and forget almost. I'm more excited about the midfield, to be honest. We're going to have so many new mids next year that are mid-onlys, and it's like, oh, you're really going to have to nail the best ones out there because there are so many options, so many different combinations, and that's what I'm most looking forward to next year.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, isn't it? Like just looking through the top scorers, I think all the players in pretty much most of our sides, I believe, in the forward line, that I reckon is going to be the area of the ground for pretty much everyone where it's untouched. The players that we started with at the start of the season are still there. Like for me, for example, like Dunkley's still there, Gulden's still there, Rosie's still there, Cog's still there, and Taranto. So, I mean, Cog, sorry, I traded in. So it was Taranto, Dunks, Gulden, and Rosie I started as my starting sort of 4 primos. And I think a lot of people would have started with them. So it kind of, I don't know, I'm thinking that it might diversify more people's teams. I mean, there might be Heaney as another one. He might come back into calculations. Petrarca, potentially, he might be the big dog if he keeps his forward percentage for the remainder of the year. DCAM, as you mentioned. So maybe there's going to be, again, like a core 3, core 4, as it were. And then whoever we build out around that might diversify the rest of our team. So, yeah, there might be a bit more variance. And then, as you said as well, with regards to those players that will now be exclusively midfielders as opposed to mid-forwards, again, opens up the amount of pool of players we can choose from in the midfield. So, it's going to be interesting, that's for sure. So looking forward to that. And it's going to be an extra challenge, I think, across both lines as to who we go for and who we lock in. But must mention as well, and Liam won't mention it himself because he's too humble to do so, but we asked this very same question ourselves in, I think it was the last episode of 2020, last year, 2022, of course. I forgot the year. But just in terms of which players we're looking at very closely, and Liam, to his credit, mentioned Errol Gulden. And I was like,
I'm not too humble. I'll literally tell everyone that. Don't worry.
At the time, I was like, yeah, maybe he might get, because he was starting to get a few extra CBAs and stuff and was performing quite well, but not to the quality of what he is now. But there was little glimmers there, and Liam saw that. And again, that's just the insight that we get from the mind of the man that is Liam. So, very, very good.
From the crystal ball.
Yeah, exactly. It's true.
Sheldrick is one I'll be very keen to start next year.
Oh, it's very true. Very true. There are a couple of rookies that have unearthed themselves as, potential candidates, as starters potentially. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Interesting days.
LDU, if it's good price in the midfield, will be the one I'll be looking at. I'll be looking at Kieran Briggs in the ruck if he can maintain this, get another preseason under his belt. I like Kieran Briggs in the ruck. If English keeps this up and he's over 700k, I'm not going to do it. I'm not paying $700,000 for any player anymore. That's probably one of the big lessons I've learned from. It just takes away from your building of your team. So it might be gone, but it might be a bit too old. If Darcy leaves Freo and it's just Luke Jackson by himself, then it could be Luke Jackson for me.
Brody Grundy, if he goes to Port, for example.
Brody Grundy, if he goes to Port, could be really interesting as well. If Sean Darcy does go to Geelong, then he's also a massive shout out as well. So a lot has to play out over this off season with player movements and stuff.
Yep, I like it. 100%. Always got an eye on next season, especially at this stage of the year, with a few of us out of contention for the overall, obviously, but as we sort of come towards the finish line. And lastly, Joe, there's been some discussion on Twitter, especially about the future of SuperCoach and how it could perhaps be modified heading into 2024 and beyond. Is there anything you had in mind that could help improve the game? I know there was one that was mentioned. I think it was by SDS SuperCoach. SDS, he's a great fellow.
Love Steve, he's a good man. He bats for Hawthorn, but no one's perfect. It's okay.
Just like me, exactly. But yeah, he threw up I think it was something to do with like utilizing a utility role or something similar to that, where the player you'd have sort of outside of your list and would be able to be subbed on at the expense of a player that's either been suspended or injury. I was thinking about it a bit more, and I was like, okay, well, you kind of had to put parameters around it. And in my eyes, it would like only work if you could sub on a player for someone that had either an injury designation or suspension. Otherwise, you can't use them outside your list. So I think it'll kind of help with the longevity of, I guess, SuperCoach with the amount of people that drop off. I think they might stay on for longer if there's that option there. Just because I think the luck element is kind of, especially this year, as we've seen with the amount of suspensions through the ridiculous bloody, tackling rule, as it was, like it's kind of, it has ruined SuperCoach in a way, apart from ruining football as a whole. But, I think that's maybe one thing that could help out. Is there anything that you've had in mind, or are you a fan of that concept?
I do like that. I do like that because injuries that, because I understand that there is some luck involved. Even just with your starting team in general, making sure that you have good players in there and the right rookies, and that's part of the reason why SuperCoach gives you those first 3 weeks to make the adjustments that you need to make for your starting team, because there are things that are out of your control, out of your hand, and that you can only wait until the games actually start before you discover what the reality is. But injuries that happen during the course of the game where it was a right selection, you were right to pick Josh Kelly at the beginning of the year because he was on fire. You know what I mean? Like, he was a great pick. He's a great player. He's playing for a great team, making good scores. And then all of a sudden he gets taken out. Or you picked up Jeremy Cameron a few weeks ago, and in the first quarter he's concussed by his teammate. Like, it was the right call, but an act of God came in and intervened, and all of a sudden your team is now in the lurch. So I do like that, having the ability to mitigate some sort of unfortunate circumstance. If he's been tagged, that's bad luck. You could have foreseen the list changes, for example. You know what I mean? That's something you can predict and you can build around, you can work around. But when it comes to an injury that's entirely out of your control, especially if it's a collision injury, that it is not even soft tissue, someone who's, you can't look at history for that. So I do like that suggestion. Another way that you can keep players engaged for longer is to add more trades. That always helps. People always find ways to burn through trades, especially now with all of these injuries, and we've added an extra round now with gather round. So they've given us one extra trade. The boosts were great. I like the boosts. I think they should stay. I think 5 is a good number of boosts, to be honest.
Yep.
I don't think there's a need to change that. But yeah, if you just want a minor change, then you could add a couple more trades. If you want a more structural change, I think that will be more worthwhile and meaningful. I do like that utility player in the case of injuries. I do think that's a great one.
Yep. There was another one as well, which someone mentioned about utilizing your salary cap to potentially like purchase another trade.
Yeah.
Everyone starts with the same salary cap, obviously, but the amount of salary cap that or I guess team value at the end of the year is dictated by the appreciation and depreciation of, players' pricing fluctuations. So I guess it does reward you if you are that savvy player that, buys low, sells high type stuff, the old stock market analogy or process. So yeah, I guess it pays into that strategy a bit more. So I don't mind that. Yeah, that's sort of another thing that's been thrown up in terms of, if you're savvy enough, it rewards you. Whereas as opposed to providing extra trades outright means that people are going to be burning through those trades no matter what. Scott Father, as we know, Habs Magic, great bloke as he is. Love his content and helped us out as well in terms of giving us shout outs and stuff and everything else across the journey. He's renowned for burning through his trades, and that's his process. That's kind of what he goes through. But I think he admits himself that, his way of burning through trades isn't conducive to the longer form side of SuperCoach, and it's more tied in with luck. So yeah, I don't mind. I mean, if they were introducing more trades, I think they still need some parameters around it just to so it's still a level playing field, but to provide longevity so people don't just burn through the extra trades as it were, which I'm a trade holic as it were, and I'd find it very, very hard to not burn through them. But I've been playing SuperCoach for 18 plus years now, and I've learned, it's taken me a long, long while to learn, but in recent seasons, like just the importance of keeping trades, and even more than that, like bench cover, which you mentioned earlier in the first question. So yeah, it's something to think about, I think, and we'll probably discuss it from here on out as well. Looking forward to next year.
One that sort of just popped into my mind, I don't know, is it's the allure of playing this game, and even if people want to play fantasy, it's the trading that makes it so exciting, and being able to upgrade your team, and buying low, selling high. It's a really exciting thing. It could be another thing to reward someone by not using a trade that week. If by not trading in a particular week, you actually end up banking, you could end up banking a trade and being able to use one of them in the next week. So if you don't use a trade, for example, in round 2, because you maintain your team, because you didn't use a trade in round 2, you can now basically gain access to using an extra trade the following week, for example, without using the boost.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it could be a way to also help incentivize you, like, hey, if you're able to hold off on using a trade this week, look forward to next week, because then you'll be able to do an extra trade without using a boost, and you can use your boost down the track. So that could be another way to incentivize you to stick around and to look forward to future rounds. Keep your boosts in reserve. And those boosts can come in really handy, for example, during the buys and things like that. So for people who are able to, who have a decent starting team, then they don't have to use trades, for example, in round 2, then it can give them a big leg up. Same thing in round 3 or round 4. At those rounds, you're not really trading too much anyway. So if you're able to have a situation where you're not trading in a particular week, you can then get an extra one the next week and boost as well, and then you could end up doing 4 trades in a particular week. So I don't know, it's a different mechanic. I'm not sure how they would the algorithm would work, but I mean, it's something different, I suppose.
Yep. Yeah. No, I like it. No, it's one of those things, isn't it, where I think the more trades that my idea as well is that, like, the more trades, if they just add on like an extra trade or 2 to your allocation for next year, it kind of is veering towards almost the AFL fantasy side of things, where it's almost like unlimited trades, and it's a trade every single week, no matter no matter what. Because I used to play Dream Team back in the day before it became AFL Fantasy, and I loved that side of it where it was limited trades. You had to be strategic. You have to really think about whether or not you bring in a player at the expense of eating into your trade allocation. Whereas now I still play AFL Fantasy, but I don't enjoy it. It's literally just to itch that trigger finger that I have when it comes to trading.
Yeah.
But that's one thing I love about SuperCoach and why I sort of stepped across to SuperCoach when Dream Team became the unlimited version of AFL Fantasy, because it's that mindset of just thinking forward as opposed to being in the present. Oh, I'll trade out this player, trade in this player, and not worrying about how many trades you got in the bank. I really like the strategic side of things. So if they can help preserve that whilst preserving, I guess, the longevity of, people playing SuperCoach, then it's really hard, isn't it? Like finding that balance and fine tuning it. But yeah,
I do wonder whether they could almost have, I don't know how this would work necessarily, but like a tiered system. So like maybe beginners can come in and they have like, you can almost play how you want. Like you have a version where, there is unlimited trades basically. Maybe there's a different version where you have a few trades less, and another version where you do get, 20 trades only or something ridiculous. So
unlimited trades can't get access to the 50K.
No, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, different tiered prizes.
Yeah, different tiers and different tiered prizes, or no prize for something like that. So you wouldn't you can't compete. You wouldn't be competing against someone if you do the unlimited trades. You're not competing against someone doing like 20 trades.
Yeah,
you're only competing in your own tier. But I guess maybe that might boost numbers. And maybe you can play across the different versions as well. Like if you do want to play, you want to have a team that is unlimited, one team that's 20.
Surely it's not that hard to implement, because, when you first sign up and make your team for the year, it asks you whether or not you're beginner, intermediate, or expert.
That's
and
right.
So I guess the system's already built. So all they need to do in the back end, I'm talking in layman's terms here, is probably super difficult when it comes to data and all of that. But just divvying up, like based upon what they've selected at the start of the year, ranks upon, which section of or which tier of SuperCoach they're allocated into. And yeah, I reckon it'll be that's a really good suggestion, I reckon, Liam, because that would tap into the AFL fantasy market, because that's the big shtick about that, is that, like, okay, you got unlimited trades. I don't know if you've listened to or heard Morio's Magic, Selby, he's won AFL fantasy twice over, and he played SuperCoach for the first time last year and finished 10th overall. His methodology crosses over SuperCoach and AFL fantasy. Obviously two different strategies across both, but again, that's the sort of, he always talks about like the strategy with SuperCoach and being the limited trade side of things, whereas with fantasy, I guess people love the fact that you're able to trade every single week, and like you mentioned earlier, that's kind of the one thing that keeps you going and keeps it interesting. So yeah, maybe that might be an easy way for Herald Sun and SuperCoach and all of that to tap into AFL fantasy's market and steal away some of their I guess customers or clients, whatever you want to call them.
I think as well, like, it's intimidating for a first time SuperCoach player to like jump in. Like, it's a long season. As you said, we're doing this. Like, I've got no trades left. I've not going to finish first. I'm struggling probably to win any of my leagues. Like, my attention span is waning, and I'm doing a podcast every week. So think about someone who's playing for the first time. I think there's ways around it. You've got to think, I think, around that. And it's just a way of easily stepping in for someone who is wanting to play for the first time. But 30 trades or whatever, 35 trades or whatever it is, could be intimidating for someone.
Imagine if there's little milestones, little checkpoints along the way in the season, where if you've been able to keep playing, you get like an extra 2 trades, for example, at some point. Like, as opposed to having it all be extra trades at the start, you could end up maybe like in a quarter, each quarter of the way along the season, you reach a checkpoint, you get an extra trade. Because I mean, you look at the AFL, there is the mid-season draft. Isn't there? Yep. Like in terms of picking up some mature age talent. Why not have something similar in SuperCoach where you're able to get an extra 2 trades, for example, middle of the year, at around that point in time?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. It's a great idea, I think, as well. That again, everyone will be on the same level playing field, and having that in the back of your mind is like it's like when the boosts were introduced. It's like, okay, well, everyone has got the same advantage. How do you best utilize it? So again, like it'd be okay. Well, I reached that checkpoint. Do you think, okay, well, depending on how many trades I've used, do I use it early or do I bank it if I can, based upon if you've had some luck with injuries and suspensions, all that sort of stuff. And those people hard hit by suspensions and injuries, they would obviously churn through it. So it comes down to circumstance, but again, adds in a bit of, added layer of strategy. So no, I like it. That's a really good suggestion as well.
Yeah, it's not just trades for the sake of trades, because finishing a team, it's certainly you don't need all of those trades to finish your team.
Yeah.
It's because they've now added an extra round to the season. The season now is longer than ever, and you're finding at this point of time, a lot of teams aren't going in with full bills of health. A lot of these players are playing injured. A lot of these teams have got their best personnel out. I mean, look at Carlton, right? I mean, you guys don't have Sammy Walsh, and for a lot of people own Sam Walsh. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's and you're in a situation where you would have, there's been so many suspensions and injuries along the way that you get to this point of the season. You've got a finished team, and you have cover. You know what I mean? Like you've got like Brayshaw, you've got like Sarong, Tom Green, Rory Laird, all sitting on the bench because all three of them are out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that was a lot of people's benches last week because they were all out.
Yeah.
And it's just like, gee, what can you do? Like it's the season's longer and it's drawing out more injuries. And obviously with how strict the season, the umpiring has been and the MRO, the more suspensions we're getting as well. So unless they find a way maybe to add an extra slot on the bench, extra cover, because at this point, it's a different game almost, the way the AFL is being adjudicated.
I also question whether more trades is bad, and I say it in the perspective of, I think I listened to an AFL fantasy podcast in the preseason, and they spoke about the fact that having limited trades is bad because, and I was like, oh yeah, you just don't like it because obviously everyone loves trading, like it's great. But then they were like, no, it's their logic was it means that you have to play more safe. So you won't take a risk because you've got one. You don't want to take a risk if you've got limited trades. And I actually think that's a really valid point. Like if you're at this stage of the season and you're like fifth, you want to do something crazy to like be able to catch up. But if you've got limited trades, you're probably going, oh no, I don't want to fall away too much. But if you've got unlimited trades, you're like, yep, I'll bring in Flanders.
I can understand the idea of being safe and having limited trades because that's what it's like in AFL at the AFL, in every professional team. Like you don't want to just draft and trade in players willy-nilly, just risky selections. You know what I mean? Like every player on your team is an asset, and SuperCoach is sort of trying to reflect that. And I can understand, this is the style, and you can be as risky as you want to be. Of course, it's going to be, you can be in like an abs, for example. You can be like a slot father who is fairly risky. Now he took his strategy and he finished 4th last year. You know what I mean? And he had like 4 weeks of donuts. So you can certainly be risky because, it's high risk, high reward.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, all you're giving up in this game, you're not paying real money apart from if you get SuperCoach Gold. But you're not really losing much out of yourself, out of your mind, apart from your time and your effort. Of course, which is priceless, dare I say. You know what I mean? But at the same time, you can play the game as you like it. There's no, I'm not sure if there's one particular right way to do it. Because I don't think I'll ever finish 4th, and I'm nowhere near as aggressive as Abs. So it's. I think it gives everyone their own personality and their own style of playing, which is very unlike in fantasy, where everyone's just basically doing the same thing.
Yeah, well, that's you've actually touched on a point I was about to make, just with regards to off the back of you mentioned, Liam, with Mario's Magic, Selby. He was saying that this time of year, normally it would be the case where a lot of people are trying to make up ground by differentiating their team by bringing in a lower owned player, similar to like what we discussed during this episode, and trying to get in pods. But with that, you kind of need to do it in order to make up ground, and that's the set strategy every single year. unlike which you just mentioned there with super coaches at the moment anyway, you can aggressively trade. You can be more conservative. There's no one style to play. And I think with fantasy at the moment this year, every single person's virtually got the same team because they've been gifted, like in SuperCoach, as we mentioned earlier, in the forward line, the likes of Rosie, Dunkley, Taranto, all these guys which people already have, which are the high scorers. So there's no reason to go for these other lower owned players because they're not going to score as well. So I think AFL fantasy to that point is more formulaic because there's unlimited trades. Whereas, SuperCoach, I like that element of it where you can have a style of play, but no one style of play is going to be the formula for winning every single year. So I don't mind it. Don't mind it. It's a good discussion point, I think, and I'd like to see some sort of middle ground where, people are rewarded in some way, shape, or form for the longer they play, and just extending it out because I do understand the frustration with injuries and especially this season with suspensions. I think without these suspensions that we've had, I think it's pretty much on par with previous seasons, but this season is like a different beast, COVID year aside. But it's just one of those things, isn't it? It's always going to be up for discussion, and they're always reviewing, to their credit, the guys in the back end of SuperCoach and asking for feedback and whatnot, and that's why they brought in the boost. So, I think going forward, there will be something they'll bring in to hopefully help the longevity of the game and the common SuperCoach player.
So we can't.
The more the merrier.
Sorry to cut you off there, Damo, but we can't forget that the longer you play, you do have an incentive, and there is a reward that you have that people who drop out don't have. And that is an extra shot every week at winning the weekly.
Yeah.
So if you drop out halfway through the year, there is no chance that your unfinished team is going to be in the running for the weekly prize. But as long as you keep playing and you're building your team and you're improving your team every chance you get, and you nail your captaincy option that week, you could walk away $2,000 richer. And that is an opportunity that if you drop out, you automatically rule yourself out of. Whereas those of you that can persist to the end, you get 24 shots at it.
Yeah, exactly right. And that's part of the reason why they've got the weekly, I think. And a lot of people lose sight of that. And that's a very good point. Every single week in contention, like I finished 19th for the round the other week, and I've never come that close ever. It really does put paid to that point where you're always in the running no matter what. So there's that incentive for playing for week to week as well. But Joe, we could talk about this for days on end, I reckon. And I guess it probably suggests that we should have you back sometime soon, which we'd love to have you, of course, if you are keen to come back, of course. But must say thank you so much for your time. I think you've been on for about an hour and a half, probably longer. So really do appreciate you taking the time out of your night to come on and entertain us, but also provide your insights and expertise alongside, well, probably more expertise than Liam and I, but banter on par at least. So really do appreciate everything, mate, and would love to have you on board yet again if you can.
Oh, absolutely. I really appreciate you guys. You do some great work, and looking forward to messaging you with the congratulations on hitting 1,000 subscribers. I'm sure it's just around the corner. You guys do some great work. It's been an absolute pleasure coming on. Absolutely would love to come on another point in time if you're happy to have me, and would also love to have you come on over to the Centre Bounce as well, for not even just about SuperCoach. It could also just be about general footy stuff. Our team, Liam and I, look, we're most likely not going to be playing in finals this year, but I'm sure the Blue Baggers, they are going to be up and about and happy to talk about footy as well. So massive love to the both of you guys. Really appreciate it.
No, thanks, Joe. And give yourselves a bit of a plug. I've tried to pop it up on the screen there. I might have misspelt something there, but
no, that's all right. That is all perfectly fine. That's us on YouTube, the Centre Bounce. Big J and myself, we run that. We have live streams every Monday night at 7:30 and Thursdays at 5:30 for team sheets reactions, and then of course on the Sundays at 9 o'clock We've got the fan cams where you guys can come on and talk to us directly and have your face up in lights. I'm Chabby Joe on Twitter, and Big J handles the Bounce Center Twitter page. So please check us a follow and head on over to Center Bounce.
Very nice. Well, and speaking of Big J, he's actually messaged through because I did message the main Centre Bounce Twitter account, of course, and then I slid into your DMs and said, "Oh, do you want to come on?" And he finally actually replied back. 2 hours ago? Hey, mate, sorry I missed this. So he's here in spirit. He's there next to you.
Typical Big J fashion, honestly. It's he's a great guy. I love doing it with him. And yeah, you two, you also have a great combination. Well done, you two. Honestly, you've been great to watch this year.
Thank you. And for anyone listening, tuning in, of course, head across to the Centre Bounce on YouTube. Give them a like, give them a follow, give them a subscribe, all that sort of stuff, and give them some love. Jump on their fan cam. They do some absolutely fantastic stuff there, and great combination. Big J and yourself. What do you have a nickname apart from "Hello Joe," which it should be from now on?
Yeah, look, I get. Joe's a very flexible name, so and that's part of the running gag that we've got on our channel. Different viewers call me either Big Joe or Medium Joe or Little Joe or I've asked for maybe a Maximus Joe perhaps.
Yes.
No one's done that one just yet, but sometimes they get Joey. Look, I live to please. I'm a very happy person, and if saying my name in whatever form makes you happy, then I've done my job, I reckon.
I like Maximus. That's got the element of the big old gladiator.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah, I am the Russell Crowe of SuperCoach. I will have you know.
Well, we might roll with hello Joe. Good old Simpsons reference there. So I really appreciate your time. Stick around though in the back end, because we are recording here. We don't normally do this through StreamYard, and it says that you need to stay in the back end whilst it finishes uploading or something. I don't know. You boys are probably more in line with this when you have guests on. So hopefully it uploads properly. But we'll put you in the back in the green room, and we will spare you some time, because we're just going to go through our I guess the happenings in our leagues, so you don't have to stick around for that. But thank you so much, mate, and really do appreciate it.
Massive love, guys. Honestly, if you guys haven't subbed to these people, look at yourselves in the mirror and question yourselves what. No, I'm just joking. Please subscribe to these guys. They're absolute superstars. Massive love to all of you. Thanks so much for having me again.
Very nice. Thanks, mate. All the best.
Thanks, Joe.
Bye.
Cheers. All right, he's in the back end now. So hopefully, I don't know if you need to do anything with regards to that, Joe, but should be fine, hopefully. We'll go back to our duo layout, and we'll wrap things up, Liam, because it's been a mammoth episode, as it's turned out, chatting about strategies and everything else. So we need to go to bed. Let us finish off this episode by going through the, I guess, the SuperCoach Edge Cup group results after round 20.
Yes. SuperCoach Edge Cup public group leader is the carryover leader, and it is Adam with his team All Too Hard. So round score 2625, very nice, and is in overall rank of 19th. So he slid back slightly from 14th, but is very much in reaching distance of the top 10. Top scorer, Damon, who was it?
Top scorer was the Wilkie Bar Kid. And yeah, it's yes. Good memory, because when I saw that as well, I was like, I remember us laughing crazily at the name. Yep. So it's such a good name, Taylor. Very, very good. Round score of 2,765 with a round rank of 121. So very nice there by you, Taylor.
Very, very nice. Now moving on to the Patreon exclusive group. And I don't know why we do this. We should just record ourselves. T Prostitutes Inc.
Every week.
Jonas Goat yet again is the leader, and he is proving to be the GOAT. Round top scorer as well.
Yes.
Wow.
The double. He's done the double.
He's done the double, triple. 2568 overall rank, the triple double. Overall rank of 317. It is past my bedtime.
Past all of our bedtimes, I think. But I am coming. Prostitutes Inc.
You are coming.
How far behind I am 233 behind, and I actually lost out 48 points in the weekend, so maybe not.
No, you just got to make how many? What was it again? How many points behind?
233.
All right, so he's gonna make like 60 points.
Yeah, we'll say 60
around.
points. Yeah. But I'm coming either way. But in terms of our Patreon exclusive SuperCoach Edge Cash League, there was a fight for the final 2 spots in the top 6 with Tankers, Carps Crushers, your mob, Church of Parish, and Popperball FC vying for a finals berth, with the results looking a little bit like this, Liam. Do you want to roll through them?
Yes, Dylan with his team Popperball FC. He was defeated by Scott Arthur, team Black on White, 2459 to 2498. So actually quite a close one there. DJ Trade a Lot, you defeated myself 2520 to 2443. Tankers Peter, he was defeated by Ton 618 2383 to 2516. And Wade Carps Crushers was defeated by Brett from the Sharpshooters, 2516 to 2532. Another close one there.
Absolutely. And just looking at the final ladder, believe it or not, there were 0 movements. So the final 6 was already locked in last round. So as it turned out, just with the results, of course, Liam, you needed to beat me. Popperball needed to beat whoever he was playing, which was Black on White, to really make any movement. And yeah, it was close. It was a close finish, but again, Liam, it's just disappointment because of the fact that you were the 5th highest scorer. And again, just the SuperCoach guys, the league gods have gone against you in this case.
Typical.
Absolutely typical. So making the finals, we have in first spot myself, DJ Trade a Lot, on 16 wins. Sharpshooters finishing second with 15 wins. Ton 618, Matthew's team finishing in third spot, a little ways behind with 10 wins. Black on White, Scott Arthur, 4th spot, 9 wins. Tankers in 5th spot, Peter's team with 7 wins. And Carps Crushers in 6th spot, the last spot in the finals, Wade's team, also on 7 wins, but comes in behind Pete on points scored overall. And then in the last 2 spots, you got Church of Parish, Liam, your team, with 6 wins ahead of Popperball FC, holding up the ladder. Dylan's team, who is behind on points scored overall. And again, Liam, your points scored overall was 42747, which is the fourth highest overall. So you, based on that alone, should have finished 4th. Yeah, just unfortunate.
It's what it is.
Is what it is. Means I'm flying the flag for both of us, Liam. I'm flying the flag for SuperCoach.
I'm behind you. I'm behind you.
Get right behind me. Get around me. See how we go. But in terms of the first week of finals, probably should mention that as well. It looks a little bit like this. So as the league is structured with only 8 teams, it means that the player finishing top, which is myself, goes straight through to the next round. Likewise, Sharpshooters in second spot. And then we have Ton 618, Matthew facing Carps Crushers in 6th spot. And Black on White in 4th spot, facing off against the 5th place Tankers, Peter's team. So goes without saying, elimination. So must win matches, both of those. And they will both go through and face off against each other, both of those winners. And then alongside myself and Sharpshooters, who will be facing off in the first must-win game. It's a double chance. So whoever wins out of us next week, one goes straight through to the grand final. The other one goes through to the prelim final as the loser and faces off against the eventual winner out of those 4 teams that are playing this week.
Very complicated.
Very complicated. That's what happens when you have 8 players in a league. But anyway, Liam, that brings us to the end of the show. Mammoth episode. But before we go, where can our listeners find us across our socials?
Yes, you can search SuperCoach Edge, and don't forget on YouTube. Just search SuperCoach Edge wherever you are. That's where you'll find us. On YouTube, search SuperCoach Edge, and don't forget to like and subscribe. On Twitter, search at SuperCoach_Edge, Damon at DemoJ88, myself at Liam Evans_95, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Yeah, they haven't changed. SuperCoach Edge. Twitter is obviously X now. Just search X.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it. Only 1x. Not
1x.
3x's. Don't make the
No.
mistake. It happens to the best of us at some stage or another. But as always, if you love our content, as you can see there on screen, if you're watching us on YouTube, we are still in pursuit of the 1K subscriber milestone. We've ticked over 930 subs and have just 4 more weeks, including this week, of course, to nab an extra 70 to reach the goal of 1K subscribers and activate our major giveaway to celebrate. Help us, help you. And you're not going to find out. If you don't reach the 1K subscriber mark, you're not going to find out what it is. You'll have to just wait for next year, and hopefully we can make it then. If not, then you'll just never find out. Never find out. So
And it'll
if
be
you haven't
on
subscribed,
you.
exactly, it'll be on you. Yeah, you. But yeah, if you haven't subscribed, make sure you give us some support. That would be absolutely fantastic, and really do appreciate those people that have jumped behind us thus far. But that's it for another episode, Liam. Thanks, as always, for tuning in, and all the best for the round ahead. And we'll see you same time, same place. We'll see you then.
See you guys.